Ahoy, mateys! Scrub the deck and batten down the hatches. I'm Julian Mush. I'm joined by Rachel Wilkinson.
Aye. You get me every time because you say something different.
I don't even know what I'm going to say until like 2 seconds before we start.
Scrub the deck.
Yeah, we're doing Small Screen Star Wars. That's the podcast you're listening to.
Yeah.
Very different intro than I usually do, but
It
I'm
is.
really off the rails now. We are talking about Skeleton Crew Season 1, Episode 7, titled We're Going to Be in So Much Trouble, which has maybe the saddest log line, but we'll get to that later.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, super sad.
Oh.
If you're new to the show, we are going to be diving deep into this week's episode of Skeleton Crew, but full spoilers for all Star Wars as we get into this, and we'll be, giving our review in and alongside the recap. It's kind of blended all together, although we do our overall thoughts ahead of time. Before we get into all that, though, I will do a little bit of housekeeping and fill in the folks at home about what it is we're doing for Film Club this month.
Yeah.
So if you help support the show on Patreon, patreon.com/TowerBabbleCast, you can get access to our exclusive monthly film clubs. And this month, we are doing the time travel movie from 1980 called Somewhere in Time, starring Christopher Reeve.
Right.
So that's cool. I've never seen the movie before. I have no way to get people excited about it other than Jeremy likes it a lot.
Okay.
So we'll get into that. That's for the month of January. If you want to go back into the catalog, last month we did The Family Man, the Nicolas Cage Christmas movie. Really weird movie.
It is really
Super weird movie. Mixed messages all throughout. But, that's what it was. Late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
Everything was great. No one could really think of anything that was worse than just being a capitalist, barely, at that time, apparently.
Yeah.
So, neither here nor there. That's available to everybody. You actually don't need to be exclusive patron. Our Christmas episodes are always made public to everyone. Actually, by the way, I did come up with, and I shouldn't say that. I did hear another podcast idea that I'd like to borrow next year.
Oh, okay.
About exchanging gifts, but not like actual gifts, like this concept of exchanging ideas for things that we liked from the year before. I'll have to work out the yeah, don't worry about it. I'll have to work out the kinks.
Okay, I was like, I don't even know.
I have to work out the kinks.
What you just said.
It's like, hey, I watched this thing. Oh, I changed the screen.
That you like from the year?
Yeah, kind of, which is kind of like our end of year show. And by the way, we're overdue for our the Tobies this year, overdue. And I have some thoughts about how to spice that up a little bit, make it a little bit more engaging for those who maybe haven't seen a lot of stuff all year. Anyway, that'll be coming down the pipe pretty soon. That being said, I did just start a new job. And, I mean, sure. I saw a really funny meme that was like a 4-panel comic that was basically like this person sat in a press basically saying, "Oh, I hate my life," and then they're like, "Welcome to the workforce," and just like working 9 to 5. He's like, "Oh, this is much worse." Yeah. And I do kind of feel that. I mean, it's just been a while since I've been back to work. That's fair. And so getting into the swing of things. That being said, yeah, oh man, it is a lot. It's just it's really intense training, especially at the beginning here. So as that applies to the show, I'm hoping it won't really affect the show, but it probably will in the sense that I just don't have as much time as I did the last 6 months. So that being said, with Skeleton Crew wrapping up next week, I'm hoping we can get Toby's done the week after or shortly after that. And then from there, I'll almost be done training. So who knows? We'll see. I have no clue what my actual regular schedule will be like. Oh, really? Because I don't know how much they like to micromanage me or not. Okay. So far, a lot. Yeah. But again, training, so who knows? Anyways, that's, yeah, Structure's overrated. That's what I think. Why can't we all just do whatever the hell we want all the time? Wouldn't that be nice?
That's what I do in my job.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of that's my preference for a job. Just do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah,
As long
that
as,
comes
yeah.
definitely less pay. So
Well, I took a pay cut to take this job
yeah.
because I needed a job. So whatever. I'm not going to complain too much. I'm not going to complain too much, but I will definitely complain. If there's one thing I'm good at, it's complaining about stuff. But I'm not going to complain about this week's episode of Skeleton Crew because this week's episode of Skeleton Crew kicks ass.
It was so good.
As they say in the Discord. By the way, you get access to the Discord if you're a Patreon.
Yeah.
And as they were saying in the Discord, it was Wizard.
It was so wizard. Yeah.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah, I really, really enjoyed this episode. I thought it looked so good, except for one part. There's one part that looked bad.
What part looked bad to you?
In CGI?
Yeah.
All the credits are falling.
Oh, you thought? I thought that looked good.
It looked terrible.
Oh, I didn't really look that close, I guess.
Especially with your TV, I thought it would look terrible.
It looked good. I thought those were real credits, to be
No,
honest.
I didn't.
Okay.
I'm like, because even when I was watching it, that was the only thing I was like, this looks bad. I was like, I wish they would have used like actual like practical credits.
It's like, how hard would that be to have just a bunch of pieces of stuff?
Yeah, I just thought it was so weird, especially when he like dips his head into them. It like looks like they like fall into his head. Like, you could just tell it was real.
By the way, it was Ray Mills who said it was Wizard. I wanted to make sure I was shouting out the right people.
But yeah, that was the only like nitpick of the episode.
That is a pretty tiny nit to pick.
Tiny little spot that I was like, we could like clean that up a little bit more. Everything else was so good. It looked so good though. Very fun.
It was a really attractive episode. Yeah.
I thought we were still
What a roller coaster.
I don't know. I was just. I was not. I'm still not over this whole Jod heel turn.
Jod Nod No Good.
Yeah,
is maybe should be his name.
I didn't think he was gonna go full bad.
Looked like a crap. Okay, so Travis Mitchell in the chat thought that they looked like Kraft mac and cheese commercial.
I'm not.
So listen. I obviously was gripped by the emotional significance of the scene and not nitpicking the look of the credits. But okay. Oh hey. Oh yeah, that's good. Hello there. Kenobi. Right? You're good at that one usually.
Sorry?
Aren't you usually good at a Grievous impression?
I don't think so.
I feel like you've done it. General Kenobi. That's not good. We'll come back to that. I'll have to get that on the soundboard. Yeah, good to have the folks in the chat. By the way, if you don't know, we do record this live the day following the premiere of the episodes. This is Wednesday, premieres Tuesday, so Wednesday is around 8 Central. The time is not always accurate. Just stay tuned. Connect. Subscribe to those Twitch and YouTube channels, and you'll get notified when we go live, which I assume Ray and Travis did so they knew when we were going live. And yeah, thank you guys for being here. Excited to have you in for this conversation. So let's not beat around the bush anymore.
Okay.
Let's get into it. Though I should remind people, Blue Sky, not Twitter. That's where you can find us. Blue Sky, not Twitter. Just search for Tower of Babel Podcast. You'll find us there. Okay.
You won't find us on Threads either.
No, it's not worse than Twitter.
It's gonna be.
But it's did you hear they like fired all their like
I was kind of laughing though because people are getting really trolly now and like because they're not fact checking.
Yeah,
Saying like wild things about Mark Zuckerberg now. Like
that's pretty funny.
It's like, this just in, Mark Zuckerberg has been matched to the DNA in the John Benet
Ramsey. It's funny because that kind of stuff gets pulled down really fast when it's against the owner of the company.
It's not. So it's hilarious. They're just trolling them. Like, well, that's what you get, man.
It is funny.
Fact checking was too liberal.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. These facts are too left wing, and if you weren't depressed by how terrible the like internet had become and the world associated with it, it would be funny. But mostly it's just depressing, at least to me. Okay, so that's enough of the real world. I don't want to think about it anymore. Let's dive instead into a galaxy far, far away. So again, this is Season 1, Episode 7. Season 1 of hopefully multiple seasons, but I also don't know how you tell multiple season story with kids. It's like the kids can't be involved again, in which case then it's like you're starting from scratch, or what are you do? Like, what is the show from there? Because it's like, or you skip forward. Yeah, that'd be fine. I mean, it's called Skeleton Crew,
Yeah, so,
not Skeleton Crew and Kids.
yeah, like you could just jump into full blown pirate stuff if you also fun.
I get it. Really depends on where I think Jod lands at the end of
I mean,
this
yeah,
whole
right
thing.
now he's kind of being a big
Yeah, like I
dad.
said, Jod no good.
Yeah, I mean, no good.
I'm gonna claim that one. Claimsies on that one.
No good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can claim that.
Yeah.
That was,
yeah.
I'm gonna say when we get to it, that was my favorite part of the whole episode.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
That made me cackle. Close enough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll get into it. So let's get into our overall thoughts here. Ultimately, I think this is easily the best episode of the season so far.
It's very hard for me to decide between the treasure.
Oh, that's a good one too. 2 episodes ago.
Yeah. 2 episodes and this one, but they're very, very.
I think this one is like 1,000 times better than
It's got so much
all the other
like,
ones.
Yeah, action and layers and stuff to it. So yeah.
It's got a, I think, relentless pace. Like it's just happening. Stuff is happening. It's exciting and intense, but in a good way.
Yeah.
It's full of surprises, but like again, good surprises, right? We had a surprise last week when we found out that Kibi was like paraplegic,
Yeah.
but or quadriplegic potentially.
Basically.
But that's not a good surprise because it's happening too late. These are surprises that feel well set up and are thrilling,
Really good. Yeah.
shocking, one might say.
Yeah.
It was great. I was, you're a little hard to hear apparently. Let me turn you up. Yeah, I'll turn Rachel up. It's okay. That's okay. I can this line. Yeah, I can make you louder. I think. Oh yeah, no, I'll have to boost you differently. 1 second, please hold.
It isn't a Tower of Babel of a small screen Star Wars episode unless there's some minor technical difficulties.
That is a fact, actually.
That's our brand and our vibe. So.
Oh, what the heck? Okay.
Did you break it now?
No, where's line 2? You should be. Ah, my god. I thought you were 2, but I'm gonna add line 2 in here. Here we go.
Am I back?
Line 2. I have to cut this out later.
Getting some real behind the scenes live content here.
Yeah.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah, this is you.
Yeah.
You're
there
back.
we go. I
Yeah.
can see I'm
This is you,
chitter-chattering away.
and then line 3 is nothing.
Yeah. Sure.
So I don't know what the hell's going on there.
Yeah. You're just breaking
I need to make
stuff
sure
again.
that the delay is the same because that was the other problem before.
Oh yeah, when you were echoey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I fixed this. Yeah. Okay. So line
But now
2,
it says-
300 milliseconds. We should be the same,
Right.
and you should be good,
Okay.
and I should be at -4.
Minus 40.
4.0.
my
There we
God.
go.
Okay.
Minor technical difficulties.
All good. Thanks, Ray.
Thanks, Ray. Really
You're the
appreciate that.
Real MVP
Oh my
of
goodness.
the episode.
Yes. This is why we need a producer.
Ray can be first mate today.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, you're definitely second mate now.
Yeah, now I'm second mate. It's fine. I can't do any of the technical things, so sounds about right.
What was the
I
other,
just
like? What
show
was the? You're like the chef or it was a quartermaster. Quartermaster. That's a way cooler title.
Oh yeah, yeah,
They said they fixed it. It's not my fault.
yeah.
Okay. Where was I? We were talking about how surprising and intense
Yeah.
the episode was. Very good. Relentless pacing. I think in general, though, there was some sort of like intangible ingredient in this episode that gave it a really strong Star Wars vibe
Okay.
that is not always present in every Star Wars piece of media that we get, I think.
Gotcha.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Kind of. Like, was it the look or is it the feel? Like, what do you?
It's a little bit of everything. I think the
Okay.
way it was shot specifically, but also like there was one moment from the moment the pirates arrive, poof, they drop out of hyperspace, which I always love anyway.
Yeah.
And then we get the pirate theme in a really like low key
Yeah.
bum 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 bum. And then
Mhm.
from that moment through to when they send out that first snub fighter and it gets
Yeah.
blown up. I was like, cool.
Yeah.
I just kept saying cool over and over and over again because I
Right?
just thought
Yeah.
everything that was happening had this sense of impending doom, which
Mhm.
there's something to be said about like the first Star Wars has this like the Death Star's coming,
Yeah.
and it's gonna blow us up, so we better figure this out now,
Mhm.
right? And I think that adds like a good some intensity and momentum. And this one, it's like we don't know what's gonna happen to the kids, but the pirates are here, and it
Yeah.
adds a sense of danger to
It
everything.
does,
And
yeah.
then it gets ramped up by every twist and like turn that you didn't necessarily see coming. I
Yeah.
think Star Wars plays it safe, has been playing it safe a lot lately, and this episode does a lot of really cool stuff
Yeah.
that doesn't feel like the safe thing to
I would
do.
agree with that. Yeah. Yeah. No,
So-
it was very fun. It just felt like it felt like there's a lot on the table this episode too. It I don't know. It felt like some of the characters were a little bit more at risk too, because
Yeah,
we
no,
did see quite a few deaths
Yeah.
in this too.
At least 4, I want to say.
Well, yeah, like a few
Two
ship
ships,
explosions.
But one of the
and-
ships had Glurb or whatever.
Yeah,
and
Glurb's-
he's
he's
dead,
now. Yeah, he's gone.
That sucks.
I know. He's
If it was just the chop, he could handle it. But it
Yeah.
wasn't just the chop.
no. What about his farm? What about his
And
water
he's
farm?
never
that
gonna
he
get any.
wanted? Yeah.
He's never gonna have any. What was it? What are they called? Kelp plankton.
Kelp, yeah, whatever. Kelp farm.
Kelp
I don't know
farm,
what it
yeah.
was, something like that.
He's not gonna
Okay.
be able to
We
have a whole ocean of
Just
kelp.
learned about his backstory.
I know. I think, but again, that's why it's cool that they did that little
Yeah.
thing so that they could blow him up next episode.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
not something that they would. I feel like normally do.
No.
We met how many pirates by name in Mando season 2, 3, or whatever that was. Was season 3, 2?
I can't
Season
remember.
2 had pirates? No.
Yeah, I don't
Season
know.
3
Vane
had pirates.
and the
Yeah, we had
Moss
Bane
Man.
and the pirate captain Gorian Shard.
Yeah.
And
that was
the
about
Gorian
it.
Shard died.
Yeah.
Which, fair enough. He's the pirate king, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Big bad. He's going to die. That's not that surprising.
Yeah.
But Bane didn't. And
No,
he's here now. And there's seems to be debate about whether or not this is taking place after those events. I think there's no way that it's not. It makes no sense. I mean, I guess in theory, you could make the argument that this is all happening before Vane joins Pirate King Gorian Shard.
It could be.
In theory.
I guess in theory, yes.
But
But-
it doesn't seem like that's the case, to be honest.
Yeah.
But anyway, my assumption is it's happening in line with everything else that's going on in this timeline that we're familiar with.
Yeah.
Okay, question for you.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about Jod's heel turn?
It kind of hurts my soul a little bit.
Yeah, it's a little sad.
You know, and I don't know why, because it's...
Because he said he was a pirate right from the beginning.
Yeah, I know, and you
But
should
you're
never
not
trust a
gonna believe him?
pirate. We were always told never trust a pirate, never trust anyone.
My parents told me that all the
It's-
time. Pirates, especially strangers,
you
but
know,
especially pirate strangers.
But I feel like pirates in general are always telling people, don't trust a pirate, don't
also,
trust anyone.
it's pirates that tell you not to trust them.
Yeah,
Oh, you don't want to trust me? I'm a pirate.
Yeah,
They'll say right?
exactly. So we weren't supposed to trust him, but I guess it's because he was so kind of sweet. There
I mean,
were so
he is
many
Jude
sweet moments
Law.
with him. Yeah, so maybe that's part of it too. But
Yeah.
there were so many kind of like moments where he's very kind and sweet and compassionate with these kids, but then it's like full turn now, and he's like really mean to them and really harsh and kind of scary, and it's like, oh, okay, like he's.
Yeah.
I don't think there's much coming back from this. Like, I don't think there's a lot of way that we can
That's kind of how I feel about
turn
it.
him back.
I think it's like
to good. It's like
there
he went full greed, and that's kind of how it is, right? Like it's when it
greed
comes to
leads
pirates.
to hate leads to
Yeah.
that's not really the thing, but you know what I mean.
But greedy pirates. It's like they're very self-serving. They don't care.
You could literally see him like losing his mind like in
Yeah.
real time. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah,
I mean, great performance by Jude Law.
yeah, incredible.
I think
to be able to make us like really like him, and then kind of be like, fuck, I don't really like this guy anymore. He's been pretty awful.
What are the odds that he comes back around next episode?
I don't know if you could. I don't know if you have
You
enough
think
time.
does the audience is it disrespectful to the audience to have him do this stuff and then be like, hey, he's gonna be nice now? Because it's like I feel like he burned all his bridges. now.
Yeah, I just feel like the threats that he made and like the things he said to them, the way he treated the kids, it's like I don't know you can come back from that. Like it's just like how I don't know.
So it's funny. As
Especially
always,
just one episode,
StarWars.com is always way ahead of us when it comes to what the right questions to ask are. So
It's
this
Joe's
is their
biggest red flag.
this is their poll on
Yeah.
their Skeleton Crew episode 7 explained.
Oh yeah.
What's Jod's biggest red flag? One is mean to kids,
Uh-huh.
obsessed with credits, is an actual pirate, still unaware of his real name. Now, I voted personally for mean to kids,
Yeah.
which is leading the polls at 43%. But obsessed with credits and still unsure of his real name at 20 and 21%, pretty tight. I thought is an actual pirate would be higher.
I'm surprised that one's lower. I would think it should be like number 1, mean to kids. Number 2 is a pirate. But I guess
Yeah.
I think in terms of Star Wars, we're a little.
It's like I said.
We like Hondo. There are other pirates. I'm like,
yeah.
but like pirates aren't that bad.
I think that's because Star Wars established pirates through Hondo, basically, and then I don't know, kid washed them to like a lot of extent. Basically, made them look
kind of goofy.
They're more
they're
goofy, like they're from Treasure Island.
Kind of, yeah. Like, and
right?
usually a lot of times when we see them, even in Clone Wars, they're kind of bumbling.
Yeah,
they
they're
mess
dropping
things
stuff.
up.
Exactly.
Yeah, like a lot of times they get stuff done, but they're like just doing shady things, but they're also kind of funny. Like there's a whole circus, like pirate circus,
right?
Episode with those kids.
Yeah, so weird, right?
Yeah, it's kind of goofy, but yeah, maybe that's why we have like a kind of an underlying sort of love for pirates in terms of Star Wars.
I mean, my love for pirates
is
dates back to like. And by the way, I've been watching videos on. I watched you watch any of those like blank explained on YouTube where it's like. It'll be like some expert, and then it's just a bunch of people asking a bunch of questions, or it's like pirate support, or it's there's another one where it's just a bunch of different experts, subject matter experts in a field.
Okay,
and then
yeah.
It's like by Wired, I think.
Yeah.
that does
Okay.
those ones.
Yes. Definitely.
And anyway, they did one for pirates, and they're like, "What's with the pirate accent? Where does that come from?"
Right.
And it dates back to the original Treasure Island from I think the 50s or 60s.
Okay.
Where this British actor was basically using his regular accent, but like adding a little zhuzh to it.
Okay.
And that was such an iconic sound that it has been emulated by essentially every pirate thing since forever. And then
Interesting.
they asked about the plank. Where did the plank come from? Walking the plank. They believe it was invented for Peter Pan.
Oh,
as a like plot device.
Interesting.
And that like where does the like what we think of what pirates are dressed like come from?
Yeah.
It's from this one artist who had basically based them on Spanish guerrillas from like the mid 18th century.
Oh, okay.
So turns out pirates looked a lot more like.
And you mean like gorillas, as in not the animal? As
no,
like military.
Yes,
like okay. I was like just confirming.
Like with like the headscarves and like all that stuff.
Okay,
it's like that's not
cool.
like they wore. They would wear big hats because they had no sunscreen.
Yeah.
Right. And they had to protect themselves from the sun. It was the whole thing.
Scars would do that too, but.
Okay, I gotta catch up. We gotta catch up on the chat here. So Travis says there was a delay of Mando season 3 due to 2 of its episodes going to Book of Boba Fett, resulting in 2 episodes being added. But I still think Skeleton Crew takes place after that. I agree.
I agree with that.
That is still one of the weirdest decisions of all time. Was putting 2 episodes of The Mandalorian into the Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah,
it's so weird. If you're like, hey, you should watch The Mandalorian, you'd be like, okay, great, I'm gonna go watch that show. But wait, you do have to watch this other show, but not the whole thing. Just 2 episodes. You might still be a little bit confused. Maybe just watch those 2 and then the last one. Because there's like only one episode left after that, and then like anyway, it's crazy. Okay, we're not gonna rehash that. Travis also says a nice moment will be Wim's father sees the saber and be the one who thinks he's a Jedi. The story Wim reads being passed down from him, thinking of his own parents and the good they saw in him. So I guess that could work, like because everyone around Jod is like, oh, you have a lightsaber, so you must be a Jedi, and therefore. You embody these other things. He'll have to like maybe play along, and then by playing along, if you pretend something long enough,
right?
Then eventually maybe you kind of take that.
I feel like he's gonna pretend like, oh yeah, like I saved your kids, like it was no big deal, like I just want to make sure they came home safe. Like
he
he's
gonna
draws
his lightsaber very ominously at the end of this episode.
That's true. Yeah, I forgot about that. It's true. Yeah, I don't know. And is that to scare the kids, or is that just like why are you?
I think it's to scare the kids because. The parents' backs are all turned to him.
Oh,
and so he pulls the lightsaber, and they can all see him. So I think the next episode will start, and they'll turn around, and he'll either have it out and just be less threatening with it, or turn it off.
Yeah,
and then play the whole like, because he needs to still figure out a way to
Yeah, how's he gonna get all that?
get all
gold?
the gold out,
Yeah.
get the other ship in. He can't like drop the act now.
No, not yet.
Right? It's too
But-
soon.
Yeah. I know. I don't think there's gonna be enough time for him to like turn back around unless he saves all their lives somehow, or gives something up to save
I mean, yeah,
them.
that's the thing. The ultimate at this. Okay, the truth is, from a character perspective, if you go this hard one way,
Yeah.
there's typically only one way to redeem
Right.
a character, which
Is
is
it by dying?
for them to die
Yeah.
in the sacrifice
Yeah, in a
themselves.
sacrificing way. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the other way is to do a long arc
Mhm.
where it's oh, you think that like you see the good in them, but they're not ready to take that step, and then
Yeah.
they kind of fall back off the wagon.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then okay, a season goes by, another season or another season and a half goes by, and then they slowly build back up to that moment, and then are ready to take that next step, and then step into the light.
Yeah.
But because there's only one episode left, it can't be that second one.
Right.
And if you just go to, oh, I'm good now, I'm actually going to help fight off the pirates,
Mm-hmm.
then it will feel cheap, I
Yeah.
think,
Yeah.
ultimately. But Ray says Star Wars has always been romantic about roguish characters, so it makes sense that we're looking for an avenue
Yeah.
to redeem
Yeah.
Jod. I mean, that's the thing, right? As an audience, I think we all wanted Jod to be like, yeah, he's the good guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But-
we want to be like, oh yeah, okay, he's a little greedy, but like in the end, he'll be fine. He'll be good.
Man,
but,
the stuff he says to those kids,
it's heartbreaking.
really hard.
Like
He says he's going
it's
to
bad.
cut their parents up piece by piece, slowly.
Yeah. In front of them.
It's-
It's like, whoa.
He looks at Wim crying and says, ugh, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
after making him cry.
Yeah. Ugh. Yeah, heartbreaking.
And the fact that clearly he has like Jedi training, right?
Yeah,
He
yeah.
went to that school, and not the best school, but
That's cool.
and he certainly. The other thing was, and I saw this. They were talking about this on Screen Crush, but it was like the way that he holds his like lightsaber out like down to the side,
Mhm.
very reminiscent of. But what about the
Oh,
the
yeah.
younglings
Yeah.
being murdered?
Oh my god. Yeah.
What are we going to
Oh,
do?
I forgot.
God, that kid is so brutal. I think that's George Lucas's kid, or it's
my
like
God.
somebody. George Lucas's kid is the Jedi who gets shot by the troopers when Organa arrives at the temple.
Oh, okay.
He does that little flip, and then he like,
Yeah, yeah.
and then he gets like shot. He's like, oh man, yeah, I think that's George Lucas's kid.
Okay.
Anyway. Long story short, the child actors in this show much better than that kid from Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
Master Skywalker, there's too many of them. What are we going to do? Anyway, Travis thinks that the idea that Jod is seen as a real Jedi and he fights back against the pirates, dying a hero in the eyes of the planet, while the kids keep the secret for the sake of the Jedi legend. But like, Wim's the only one that cares about that, and
Yeah, the
Fern
rest of them
doesn't
would-
seem the type
No.
to not
That's true.
be like, he actually sucked.
Yeah.
That was
He's the
preferred-
worst.
yeah.
He brought them here.
Yeah, exactly. Boo, let's not celebrate him,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I get. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a
we'll
liar.
have to see. I just. Yeah. It would be hard to do another flip, but I mean, it's Star Wars. They might be able to pull it off. I just hope
think
if they do it, that they do it well. Like,
It's gonna be
have to
tough.
He's gonna have to make a choice between like the kids' lives and the gold or something, and like choose the kids.
Yeah.
but
I mean,
again,
that's a lot of
I think
gold,
that's
though.
against his character.
I mean, even
so-
I might be tempted with that much gold. I'm just kidding. But like,
yeah.
it's a lot of gold. We're talking like there was over 1,000.
Yeah, like,
like-
of like the
Vaults.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
each of those vaults probably had billions of credits in
Yeah.
them. So, as like in the description and StarWars.com, and they explain it just says more credits than he could ever spend, which is
Yeah.
true,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
right? Even if he just got one cart of those, he'd probably be pretty good,
Pretty
like
set.
well off,
Yeah.
you know. So there is a chance that it goes that way. Though, what I think is cool about this is that this whole Jod flip-flop thing
Mm-hmm.
reminds me of none other than everyone's favorite character from The Last Jedi, DJ. Exactly. DJ was the guy who with the stutter. He was played by Benicio del Toro.
Oh, Benicio del Toro. Yeah.
And he's the one who
Right.
sells them out at the end,
Yes.
and then he's like, it's just business.
yeah.
One day you blow them up, the next day they blow you up, or whatever.
Yes, okay.
I wrote a whole. This is if you guys are really interested in something, a glimpse into another time, go to the I think it's somewhere on the website towerbible.ca. There's the blog is kind of been archived, but if you go find it on there, it's in there somewhere. There's a whole. I wrote a blog post all about DJ.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about it here.
I'm not going to talk about it here. I'm not going to rehash it, but you can find it. It's just a cool idea that there can exist a moral gray area in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Where normally we're so used to the black and whites of everything, the
Right.
Sith versus
Yeah.
the Jedi, the good versus evil.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the stuff that's in between is often the stuff that's most interesting.
Yes.
In this case, Jod is being portrayed as pretty evil.
Yeah, right now it's
pretty bad.
threatening to kill kids' parents in front of them is pretty bad.
But the fact that we've seen both sides, like we've also seen his good side. So
yeah, I know. That's what makes it
yeah.
kind of more of a gut punch,
Yeah.
right?
So let's do this. Let's read a user review for IMDb, a classic segment on
Yeah.
small screen Star Wars. This is called "Claims He's on a Great Episode," which is a great title
Yeah.
by Namob43673. Really catchy name. Okay. Skeleton Crew is the biggest TV surprise since Lessons in Chemistry. Have you seen Lessons in Chemistry?
No.
I've heard it's good. I have not seen it. Who knew that a morally bankrupt studio hell-bent on destroying the very essence of Lucasfilm, I mean, that does seem a bit strong, but well-written, so I'll give it a pass, that has produced one disaster after another is still capable of doing the brand of Star Wars justice? Who knew that in an era of bad movies and horrid TV shows that this would stand out as a shining beacon of fun entertainment? This person seems like they're fun at parties.
They're a little too negative, Nelly, for me. But we'll keep going.
Anyway, they didn't believe that was possible, but
Okay.
here they are. Yeah, there are a couple things, such as the faith of Brutus, which was not perfect. I think they meant the fate of Brutus, but they
Yeah.
wrote faith, so
Uh-huh.
I'm just reading it as I see it, okay? And making claims he's on a ship is both dumb and hilariously fun.
Yeah, it was. I was like,
Yeah,
what? But
it's
I was like,
a fun,
I'm gonna
it's
go
a
with
fun
it.
twist. And
I'm
again,
okay with it.
the episodes are way too short, and I agree with that.
Yeah.
But the rest is pure enjoyment. Jude Law is brilliant,
Yeah.
and as the now clear antagonist of the story, the children continue to be some of the best kid actors I've ever seen, and we also now know a bit more about the actual story. I mean, the story's kind of laid out pretty clean
at
at this point.
yeah.
My main concern is that how can they stick the landing with presumably only 30 minutes of screen time left? It's a good question. The answer is they can't pause for dramatic effect unless the finale is 1 hour long and there's no way to tie there is no way to tie everything together and give us a satisfying ending. But perhaps they can surprise us again. Another 8 out of 10 is basically where the show belongs as a whole. It has been a fun ride, and sadly, it's almost over. Disney better order 2 or 3 more seasons.
I mean, like we said, that might be hard to do depending on how this story plays out.
Also, very expensive to make at almost $250 million or something crazy.
Wow.
I know
Yeah.
it's wild. I mean, that's why it looks so good, I assume.
Yeah.
You got to keep Lucasfilm busy.
Yeah.
They employ a lot of people. I think that's ultimately, I think maybe we don't think about that a lot, but all these productions for all these things. But Lucasfilm was established to make movies.
Yeah. That's true.
And was making movies for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like, hey, what about TV and not movies?
Yeah.
And they're not really lean.
No.
They're not TV studio lean.
No.
And so it just costs they've got all these workshops and studios and things in there that were built to make Star Wars movies.
Yes.
Essentially. And the odd Indiana Jones movie. But it's expensive to make that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's not getting cheaper. So I don't know what the answer is, but this show is not getting maybe the buzz it deserves, but it is the best thing since Andor, probably.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And we were getting Andor season 2 really soon, and I
So
cannot
excited.
wait. Okay,
Yeah.
let's catch up on the chat here. Travis says, I could see the supervisor showing up, thanking him for returning the children, and offering the money he was going to take anyway, or even a home on the planet. I think that's the thing. He can't leave.
I have theories about that.
He can't leave. They would never let him leave.
Yeah, I have theories about the supervisor, actually.
And he's definitely a robot. The supervisor is definitely not Stephen Fry in a costume.
Do you want me to tell you my other theory that
Yeah, I mean, why not? Why would we wait?
I don't know. My other theory about this, okay, so because the Onyx Cinder is a AT-AT ship.
Yes.
And
I think
it
it's.
had
I
left.
don't think it's an AT-AT ship. I know that's
They
what
said it
Wim.
was a
That's what
they
Wim
said
says.
No, they said no. That was what the No, that was what 33 said because it was in the.
He says they stole. I guess they stole.
They stole, like,
he
a
says they
mining
stole the
a mint ship.
the
whatever.
ship, the Mince ship. But
I think. Let me finish.
okay, go.
I
ahead.
think that the supervisor saw that ship coming back in and was like, "Shit!" Like it knew when it left.
It jigs
was
up.
Like, that's my ship. Knew when it was coming back.
Oh, you think that's the he's the pirate?
Yeah. I think
Crazy.
I think
That's actually a
maybe,
really great idea. I didn't even
right?
consider
And
that.
so that's why he let it land. That's why he told all the citizens, like, "Oh, don't worry, it's a delegate from blah blah blah." It's like, why would he just think it was a delegate? Why or not
Well,
a delegate
I mean,
or a ambassador?
the thing is,
so I'm like, ooh, maybe, but I could be wrong. Maybe
I think it's a really great
it
theory.
is a robot.
I think it's a great theory.
but I was like, interesting.
The problem I think that we have is that the Onyx Cinder was lost too long ago, and then
Mhm.
unless Captain Renaud or whatever is
Still on
is still alive in some way, like how if it's a human he's too old, and if he's was like a lot of people are like, oh, 33 was the captain all along. That's an interesting theory.
Oh yeah, like 33 is.
Yeah.
Because he says some call me SM33.
Right.
So maybe.
So maybe he. I mean, but like.
But
I
at
mean,
the same time, why would he just like give up his ship and like tell everybody everything? But
yeah,
who knows?
yeah.
But yeah, I just
And also, why would a droid care that much about
treasure.
loot?
Yeah.
It's weird, right? So I think.
Oh yeah, I mean, there could be so many little theories, but I don't know. I thought it was way too easy how they were able to just like land, no big security breach thing. Like, oh yeah, like well, we'll just take you down to the mines.
I guess in theory,
Interesting.
if it is a robot, because remember
That's
our
the other
original
thing.
theory was that it was like a big
That's the other
robot
thing is that
brain.
he's just a big droid because
It's a big droid brain.
there is that other line about that Jod says to the droids like, oh, I'm tired of talking to droids.
Right.
And it's like,
go fetch him.
Go
and
fetch
your
him.
your finest refreshments.
yeah. And he's like, oh, I don't think it could be a droid. So yeah, I don't know. We should see.
Yeah, I mean, if Captain Renaud is the supervisor, I think the fact that he's that Stephen Fry is Captain Renaud is a fun twist.
Yeah, Stephen Fry. Yeah.
I love Stephen Fry so much, and I think it's unlikely because I think it's too long ago.
Yeah.
It'd be like if a pirate from the 18th century was still alive now.
Right.
It doesn't make
yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Right? But again, there's different aliens that can live a long time.
Yeah, there are.
So
like Yoda.
exactly. This good you will not look at 900 or whatever he says.
So yeah, it's but you never know.
I do like that theory though, because like the idea is like, oh, he crashed his ship and survives. His crew's dead,
Mm-hmm.
but he can't leave now, so he has to like figure out a way to like hide in plain sight
Right.
in the in AT-AT, which is like already established.
Yeah,
so I mean,
yeah.
yeah, it's cool.
You never know. You never know.
Yeah, that's as Ray said. The only issue is that Jod
Right.
said AT-AT has been missing for hundreds of years. So it's
Right.
like,
Right.
so again, if it is the droid brain theory,
Mhm.
it's like, oh well, they don't really, for whatever reason, droids don't have a good sense of time or
No.
can't figure out that if 100 years go by without
Yeah.
seeing
Without seeing something,
without
yeah,
seeing
they just
somebody that
don't.
you just keep going as is. But I think this
Yeah,
is kind of
yeah.
like the classic robot thing. It's like you teach a robot how to make paperclips, it'll just keep making paperclips forever. There's
Yeah.
no reason,
Yeah.
we've stopped. All the trees are cut down. We don't need paperclips anymore. But
Yeah.
so anyway, we're way behind schedule here. Let's get into
Just get into the recap.
let's
scene
get
by
into the
scene.
recap.
Yeah,
the scene by scene
weird.
recap.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, season 1, episode 7. We're going to be in so much trouble with 1 episode left. Are you still liking the long-winded titles that are just lines from the
Quotes?
episode?
Yeah, I don't mind them. I don't
Okay.
mind them at all.
Okay. Here's the log line. Our heroes have never felt further from home. Oh, I know, right?
Yeah.
Because they're literally home, but
Yeah.
they couldn't feel further.
Yeah, because they can't.
Yeah.
Ugh, yeah.
This is directed by Lee Isaac Chung, and this is a director who has Star Wars bona fides because he directed an episode of The Mandalorian,
Okay.
season 3. He directed season 3, episode 3, chapter 19, The Convert, which, if I recall, is a good episode, actually. The earlier parts of season 3, I think, are better than the later parts of season 3. Also directed Twisters, a movie that is pretty serviceable, very fine movie. The original's better. That's the long story of that. And director of Minari, which is, I think, like a Oscar award-winning film.
Okay.
So very good director. I think clearly kills it here,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
Obviously, these are not director-driven shows, right? This is a producer-driven series, and always probably will be. But you do get some of like what makes them good at their job, and I think in this case, they bring a really good energy to this episode. Okay, written by, of course, Christopher Ford and John Watts, and we start on. By the way, 36 minutes is the runtime.
Oh, it felt longer.
2 minutes shorter or longer than last week, but it feels way longer.
Yeah, that definitely felt like a way longer episode than that. Interesting.
Isn't that weird how that works?
Huh.
Travis says, I also think Kim is going to come back into play and has maybe been in contact with KB this whole time, maybe directing the New Republic to Atten. I mean, maybe? Is KB capable of long-distance communication? And why would she tell any of her friends that?
Kim did tell KB to call her anytime.
That's true, but like...
Yeah, I don't know.
She doesn't know how intergalactic phones work.
I don't know.
I mean, maybe she does. She actually seems to know how lots of stuff
She knows
works.
how lots of stuff works.
Yeah.
We should see. You never know.
Okay. I do need to mention this one. Travis, I love DJ, except for how cliche that betrayal was. I like how he's a cautionary tale for what happens when you don't pick sides and stay in the middle. It makes you a villain anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a great point, Travis. Yes, it's true. It's a bit cliche, but Benicio del Toro is so charming that it's really hard to not enjoy it.
Very true.
Okay, we start on Atten, and this whole sequence is I'm not the first one to say it, but I think it's an homage to the opening of E.T. You said you haven't seen E.T., so you wouldn't know.
No.
But there's a whole sequence where when E.T. lands, there's people in the woods with flashlights, and you can't really see what they look like, and they're like running through the woods, and it looks like this.
Oh, okay.
So
I thought it was a little bit more of like when they're trying to passing the data card and Vader's chasing them like through the hallways of the ship. I got a little bit of that.
There's a little bit of that too. Yeah,
It's
from
like
Rogue One.
Outside version.
Yeah. Those are the plans to the Death Star.
Yeah.
Okay. This episode I knew was going to be good right from the very first musical cue from Mick Giacchino. And Mick, I know I gave you a little bit of a ribbing for the whole like being the son of what's the word I'm looking for here?
Nepotism.
The nepotism of it all.
Yeah.
And I do think it's kind of gross, but it's like whatever. I mean, the world sucks enough. I mean, better music, and I'm not going to complain about it. But absolutely killing it here. Starts with the musical cue that feels quintessential Star Wars, in my opinion. It's harp with strings. It's the and it's perfect. It's literally perfect, and I have no notes. And
always love that.
The only thing missing was Wim stepping on a pizza, says Travis. And I don't understand that reference.
Is it an E.T. reference?
Oh, yeah, that is an E.T. reference. Thank you.
You're welcome. Never seen it, but I assume.
Way to tie it back. That you used the
E.T.
context clues. My brain had turned back to Star Wars already. Okay, so the parents are putting together a communication device to send a message through the barrier. They hear sounds. He's like, oh, it's just a tree sucker. I think we see one of those at the very beginning. It's like this weird alien that's like hanging on the tree.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's kind of gross looking. It looks like a big tree leech.
Okay, gross.
And then we get I have a bad feeling about this reference, but she doesn't get to say it all the way because she's stunned. By the way, did you think that the stun blasts look different here? I know that they're round and blue, but they look less defined and more.
I don't know. I didn't notice that really.
Maybe because they're coming from further away.
Could be.
Yeah,
they're more spread out.
Yeah,
I don't know. But yeah, I love how they're the robots you will be stunned for your
own
safety,
yeah, your own
protection. I was like, ooh, that's very creepy, big brothery.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, that whole concept has been playing under the
whole time.
thing the whole time, and we just spent so little time on Atten since the first two episodes that it's really hard to get a good sense of it. But if you could put it in a line you will be stunned for your own safety, is a pretty good way to kind of remind people that there's something weird going on here.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway, they take turns carrying the device, as you said, maybe in kind of similar to how they kept being murdered on their way to delivering the Death Star plans to Leia and R2. And I think it's a fun sequence as they're running along.
Yeah.
Farah ends up being the last one to get it and is able to actually hide long enough to launch the communicator. And I was surprised that it was it flew up into the sky. I wasn't sure how this was all going to work,
right?
To be clear, but I guess it makes enough sense. So they say that it's a like a communication buoy.
Right.
So if
right.
you get into space, then it can just be broadcasting the message
like
over
a
and
little
over again.
satellite almost. Yeah.
I do have a question about like what the actual plan was here, right? Like, where are you sending this message? Like, how far can this little thing send
Right.
a message
I think
anyway?
they were hoping that the kids were just on this plane and it just broke like out of the barrier, and that they were just kind of like floating around at and didn't know how to get back through the barrier. So I think that's what they were sort of hoping, is that the kids were just sort of orbiting
You
around
think?
up there, and they're like, okay, like if we can just get this message to them, they can go and
Well, they do say like
Fine.
don't tell anybody where you're from and all these other
yeah,
things.
because they told them to go find a Republic
emissary.
like emissary. So like wherever you are now, go somewhere else, find an emissary, and then but don't tell anyone where you're from. Like on the way there, I guess.
I mean, that's maybe the best case scenario from their
yeah,
perspective.
I guess it's just
And also,
kind of a
like,
Hail
how would
Mary,
they
but-
find an emissary? Like, there's a lot of
Oh
like,
yeah, there's a lot of just
it's like, hey, we
go do
can't
this.
tell you where you are, because that's the thing. It's like, hey, we're it's like you're probably not still. They can't assume that, because
Yeah,
they're like, we can't tell you where exactly At-Atten is or how to get home.
yeah.
But if you go find this person, they will
They
bring
can
you back.
they can bring you back.
So they
yeah.
have to assume that the kids are elsewhere.
I guess. Yeah. I don't know.
Anyway, it's not a great plan. I just think of that
Yeah.
that Avengers quote. Not a great plan.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It's fair enough. It's like you want to get something out to them. You need to feel like you're doing something as a parent. I'm sure you feel like if you were helpless to feel that way, it would
Oh,
be
yeah.
very frustrating
Yeah.
to feel. Anyway, they get the message off, and she's ultimately stunned. Cut to title card. Great way to start the episode, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Really sets the tone for like we are moving.
Yeah.
In this episode, there's literally people running at the very beginning
Yeah.
of the episode. It's great. It's a great way to start.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on the opening sequence?
No. I just like I said, I'm with you on liking it.
Travis says the planet feels like a less intimidating version of the Narkina 5 prison in Andor. The aesthetics of the droids are reminiscent to that. Yeah, I think that's fair in the sense that like the all white
Mhm.
concept of the prison stuff.
Yeah.
And like in theory, like in some sense, everyone who lives on this planet is kind of a prisoner. They're not allowed
yeah.
to leave.
They're not allowed to leave. Yeah. Exactly.
And they're doing this job that they can't talk to anybody off the planet, and like
Mhm.
the great work and all that stuff. And I'm sure he doesn't necessarily feel that way, but they are essentially prisoners. And then
Yeah.
when you layer in the droid stuff and like how they are treated by the droids who don't listen to them and don't really care about their needs,
Yeah.
other than the fact that they continue doing the work that they've been assigned to do, then yeah, it really does have a Narkina 5. The prison arc from Andor is like top tier cinema.
Mhm.
So hard to beat that just from a pure like storytelling and acting perspective. Wow, so good. So I'm just like gives me chills. He can't swim.
Yeah.
Oh
Can't
man.
swim.
Okay. So on At-Atten, the pirates arrive, or just above At-Atten. The pirates arrive. Oh, I skipped the scene. Apologies. In hyperspace, aboard the Onyx Cinder, the kids are playing around. They're in a good
Yeah. I
spirits.
was just
Playing
giggling,
slap ball, I think.
Yeah.
Wim, though, bit of a downer. Not as excited as everyone else to go
Mhm.
home. Fern is like, I told you I'd get us home. See, don't worry, because that's what maybe she's not really good at actually reading what Wim is
No.
upset about almost ever. And she tries to like come up with some ideas. She does catch on because she's like, well, maybe we'll be able to keep the ship. And he's like, okay,
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah.
yeah.
Let us.
He's kind of internalizing like the realism of like
Going home
having
back to their boring lives.
go back to your boring life.
Yeah.
I feel this way. Like I now work 9 to 5 every day.
Yeah.
or
Now
not-
you have
not
to go
even.
back to work.
7 to 4. It's
Yeah.
crazy. So it's like, yeah, it's depressing as hell.
Yeah.
I'm with Wim on this one. It sucks. There's a space adventure? Sign me up. Well,
Yeah.
actually, no, I'm scared of space. But an adventure? A pirate
Mhm.
adventure? Oh, absolutely. That I can do.
Yeah.
So she's trying to come up with these ideas. Well, maybe we'll hide it into the woods, and then it's like she's like, come on, Fern, like that's not gonna work. And then he's like, I still have to take the assessment. So he's like, he's kind of like putting himself back in this like, essentially, pretty depressing place he was in before he left,
Right.
right? And to some degree, he gets to carry this stuff home with him, and like, it would change him and give him a different perspective, but he's not really thinking about that way, and it's hard to do that in the moment anyway, and he's a kid, so I'm going to let that slide.
Yeah.
I do love this moment, though, because he talks about he's like, I wish I never pushed this button.
Yeah.
I remember they made that such a big deal about that button in the first episode.
Yeah.
Or, the second episode. The first episode. I think they pressed it at the end.
Yeah.
And everyone was blaming him for pressing the button and sending them on this whole thing. But then everyone was like, no, it's not. We're happy you did it.
Yeah.
We're glad you did it. Right? Even Neil, who's like, even though my life was threatened the whole time, which I think is kind of the point. And so I thought that was like a big moment at the very early in the episode, which is like redemption for Wim.
Yeah.
You weren't a mistake.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Poor guy. He just
and-
wants the adventure to continue.
Yeah, and as he said at the beginning of the series, it's like, he doesn't want to go work as an analyst.
Yeah.
Like
Big boring job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Travis says Fern is a loner who hangs out with a cyborg whose eyes she can't see most of the time. It makes sense for her not to read people very well, which is a nice bit of depth for her. I
Yeah.
agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Anyway, any thoughts on this like basically last moment of like fun that they have before shit gets
right?
dark?
I know. Hey, it's in retrospect, it's like, oh, like it's fun to see them.
They're also a little bit
around,
of a roller coaster ride this episode.
Yeah.
So the pirates arrive above At-Atten, and we get, as I mentioned before, a cool use of the pirate theme here.
Mm-hmm.
And they see essentially what they call a toxic maelstrom, just like a big cloud of green energy with electricity jumping out of it. Doesn't look inviting.
No.
Brutus is pissed, and then he's like, "Okay, prepare the airlock."
Yeah,
he's like really
I know.
quick
He's
on the trigger finger here.
He is. He's just
Yeah.
like super airlock happy. He's like, yeah, just throw him out. We're
How
done.
he's like, how quickly can I convince everyone to throw him out of the airlock?
Yeah.
He's like, oh no, it's clearly not a treasure. I don't see giant bars of gold sticking out of this planet, so therefore,
Yeah.
and
I'm
even
done. Yeah.
even Jod is like, what? Just because it's not right in front of your face, you don't believe it? Which is like fair enough. He does get to say, "How stupid are you?" Which is pretty good.
Yeah.
I love the like look of desperation on Jod's face when he sees this, and then he's like, "Okay, back to the airlock." He's like, "Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to like another speech. I got to come up with another."
Yeah. Another fast talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he calls 33 to back up his whole like, argument that it's hidden, and I'm glad to see that he's not dead.
Yeah.
Which is nice to see. Although he might be at the end of this episode, which is even more. My favorite character certainly on the show. It's not even close.
Again, can't do that to 33 and then think we're gonna forgive you.
I think you can decapitate a droid and it'll
Yeah.
mostly be okay. We saw
It'd be worse if it was,
C-3PO
like,
get
if
decapitated
it
how
was
many times?
straight through the head,
Like
that
vertical?
would be bad, or like horizontal through the head, kind of like
Oh, through the
diagonal?
through the actual
Yeah.
head, not the neck. Even.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Then but we see a lot of droids get decapitated and then they can get put back together. So it's yeah.
I like how the old lady from Orange is the New Black is on the crew. Yeah.
Oh,
I don't really know Orange is the New Black, but I just think
yeah.
she brings a good pirate
she
vibe.
does. You're right. I didn't even clock that at the beginning. Yeah, it's been so long since I've seen like any of that show.
Well, I mean, that was like the first Netflix original, so
yeah,
it's been
I think
a
I
while.
only ever watched the first 2 or 3 seasons of it.
I
It
mean,
was very good.
in modern Netflix, that's as many seasons you'll ever get.
Yeah, true.
So 33 says, quote, "The real treasure planet be hidden inside an endless storm. The real treasure planet be hidden inside an endless storm," he says, as I use my impressions again. Again, Jod, at the kind of end of his rope here, almost literally, it's hidden inside, "I'd bet my life on it," which is a funny thing for him to say,
yeah. I
given
mean,
the
yeah.
circumstances. And I love how Brutus is like, "I'll take that bet."
Yeah.
That being said, he's like, "I want a volunteer," quote unquote, air quotes, "to fly into the storm to test the theory."
Right.
Now, it doesn't seem like Glurb wasn't a volunteer. He did seem like he went on his own accord.
Yeah.
So he did kind of sacrifice himself for
Yeah.
nothing.
Well, even Jod offers to go at first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is also crazy because
Yeah,
if he
he
had,
would've
he would have
just
just been dead.
Yeah.
But also from
Brutus.
for Brutus' perspective, it's like you can't just let him out of your sight
No.
like that.
No, of course
Yeah.
not.
So, as I said before, everything from this moment basically is just a series of really cool stuff in a row. I
Yeah.
love the cockpit view. I like the music here. I like the stakes that feel high. I like the surprise outcome of the ship exploding
Yeah.
and Glurb dying. So yeah, I just think it's really, this is like what Star Wars, when it has an energy and an excitement and you're like getting into a ship, this is where that kind of vibe comes from for me, that
Absolutely,
like
yeah.
drives it. Anyway, R.I.P. Glurb.
Mm-hmm.
So they lose contact with the fighter and lose patience with Jod. So again, right back in the airlock. Jod believes it's a defense system or defense grid and pleads for understanding from within inside the airlock. Again, asking for 33 to chime in on this. I love how he's like, no, no,
Yeah.
no, to the guy who's like about to press the
Don't
button.
push that button.
Don't
yeah.
push that button.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it would just take a little boop and then he's dead.
And he's gone.
Boop.
Yeah.
Right? But, and I was thinking, it's like, is there a way that they could have him shoot out the airlock and not die? And the answer is yes, of course, because
it happens all the
Leia
time.
can.
Yeah, I was like, unless he Leia's himself back in,
Right.
or like the kids show up at the exact
Right,
same time.
exactly.
But, yeah.
So it's possible in Star Wars, technically.
Yeah.
Or he puts on one of those bubble helmets and then you're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but no, that would have been silly.
Yeah.
This episode is a serious episode. We don't have time for that. So Brutus, though, has heard enough, and he's ready to push the button himself when just at that exact moment, they're interrupted by the kids dropping from hyperspace right next to them, which I think gives Jod a little bit more credibility.
Yeah.
Because it's not like they're just at some random spot in the galaxy. Why else would this other ship be here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I love how all the pirates are like commenting on like how cool the ship looks,
Yeah.
because personally, they make the Onyx Cinder look really fucking cool.
They do.
In this episode.
They really do.
It's just really sleek. This like
Yeah.
matte finish it's got going is really cool. I love 33 whispering here
Mhm.
under his breath, kind of like looks much different without its armor. He says it's so cool.
Yeah. Again, that's still such a cool thing. I love it.
Yeah,
Love
yeah. Clad in armor and ready.
Yeah.
And so yeah, they're like, I love the retro thermal vents and stuff that they're like, it's so cool. So
Yeah.
again, I agree. I'm with the pirates on this one. But Brutus, again, impatient. He just calls it an antique and wants them to blast it out of the sky. It does remind me
Yeah.
of the
Just a hunk of junk, or
well,
yeah.
the like, there's no life signs aboard. Okay, we'll let it go.
Yeah.
What are
Yeah.
you paid by the laser?
Yeah.
That's good stuff. Yeah, just blow everything up. Why would you not blow that up?
Yeah. Just
It
blow
doesn't-
everything up.
No, there's
all
no
the
life
time.
signs. Okay, well, if there's no life signs aboard, it must have
Cool.
let's just not blow it up then.
Yeah.
So Brutus is willing to listen, given this whole new scenario. Okay, fine. If it really is hidden in there, and the ship is like the key or whatever, because he's like, it's the ship is the key. The ship is the key, right?
Mhm.
Then he's willing to like go one more step down the road.
Yeah.
But again, he really wants to kill John, and he even says so later.
Yeah. He's like, just doesn't matter. I'm so ready to kill you.
Yeah. So the kids, meanwhile, we have this really brief scene where they don't know the pirates are there. They comment on the look of the barrier from the outside before. They're like, oh, that's what it looks like. No wonder people
Yeah.
don't want to come in
Yeah. I
here.
was like, fair enough.
Right? And then they're captured by the tractor beam by the pirates.
Mhm.
And Neil says, we're pirates meat, which is funny.
I do really love the look of, I guess it's Brutus's ship. Like, I love a
The-
big open
yeah.
bay. It's so, yeah, I don't know. We see them like
The
often,
frigate.
but yeah, I love just seeing like the big open bay and that they can just like pull the ship into it. It's very, very
Well,
cool
it
every
looks
time.
it has the docking bay has the same like general shape as most docking bays do in
Yeah.
Star Wars, but specifically the one on the Death Star that we know
Yeah,
from
yeah.
Episode 4,
Yeah.
right? Travis says there's actually a canon short story about the guy who didn't blow up the escape pod, and the whole thing is him trying to convince the record keeper to alter the record to save himself. Yeah, I'm sure that's probably from a certain point of view.
Yeah,
and
probably.
which I've read the first
are
one or listened to it on audiobook, and the first one, like a certain point of view for A New Hope, pretty cool. There's a whole sequence from Obi-Wan's perspective
Okay.
where he's like rematerializing himself from the Force for the first time.
Oh, that's cool.
Which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
There's also a story about from the perspective of one of the mouse droids on the Death Star,
I like that.
which is funny. And there's like a whole extended sequence with like every character from the cantina,
Oh, okay.
and they're all like looking to cash in on the reward on Han's head, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's this whole, and then the guy has long snoot, the guy with like the goggles and the long nose, and it's like a whole thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's good. I haven't done the certain point of views for Jedi or Empire yet, but I'd like to. I'll get around to it eventually. So the ship is brought into the hangar of the frigate. I love a frigate. Could have been a Corsair, but which is more piratey, but frigate also works. As the pirates gather around, on the way, Brutus tells Jod that, quote, this is your last life. Almost like he's a cat.
Yeah.
And that regardless of the treasure, he plans on killing him the first chance he gets.
Yeah.
Which is like,
not
why
the
would you
best
tell?
thing
Like,
to
yeah,
save
like it's
someone.
like, don't give away your plan.
Yeah. Don't tell someone you're going to kill them no matter what. But yeah.
They seem to like it. Just this whole thing. It just seems to be like from the beginning, Brutus wanted him dead as early as possible.
Yeah.
And to be honest, like Brutus kind of, I mean, he fucks up by getting killed here, but
Yeah.
by keeping Jod alive as long as he did, essentially it was just him kind of like giving himself rope to hang himself on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because his motivation clearly was, I'm done being first mate. I want to be captain now.
Yes. Yeah.
The only way to do that is to kill the other
to
captain.
get rid of the
you
other
can't
captain, yeah.
leave the other captain around.
No.
So
No.
it's a miscalculation on his perspective that ultimately ends in his own death.
Yeah.
But, live by the sword, die by the sword, as you say. So,
Yeah.
Jod cautions him, though, saying that killing him would be a bad idea as the crew loves him more than they even love plunder.
Mm.
Travis says, Brutus got less intimidating and more dumb with every scene. I mean, I feel like he was really cool in the very, very first scene of the entire series.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you're like, wait, a werewolf?
Yeah.
Cool.
That's neat. Yeah.
And like a really cool, raspy voice. But then he started saying things like glitter speech.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in this episode he's got like another similar one where it's like he does lose a little bit of his luster.
Yeah.
A little bit. Although I do think his death is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like, I think that is a surprising move.
It was. I was like, whoa. Okay.
I think it's like that is the moment the episode gets real.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So as the door to the Onyx Tinder opens, Brutus demands that whoever is in there needs to come out, and as he goes to investigate, he's grabbed by that mechanical arm
Yeah.
that they have.
Very useful, that mechanical arm.
Has been.
Yeah.
The kids, using KB's computer voice, which we had seen from episode 1, threatens to kill Brutus if they come any closer.
Mm-hmm.
But Jod takes, basically calls their bluff.
Well, he knows it's the kids.
Yeah, well, I
he's
know,
like,
exactly.
It's the kids.
And basically does the honors of killing Brutus himself with a shot to the head.
With Brutus's own gun.
With his own gun.
Yeah.
By the way, his blaster
blaster.
looks very piratey.
Yeah.
Almost a little too piratey in the sense that's like, does it really need to look like a old timey like?
Like you have to load it.
You have
from,
to
like,
load it from the top. It's like
yeah.
It's just a bit anachronistic. It doesn't need to be that way
That on the nose, yeah.
for
fair
us to believe that it's a pirate who has a
Yeah.
blaster.
Yeah.
Like just stuff it into your belt and then that's enough. It doesn't have to also have the big long like wooden handle and stuff.
Yeah,
you know?
like hooked handle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, no, that was like pretty shocking.
So yeah, I mean. I have this listed as the second shocking moment of the episode.
Yeah.
After the death of the first pirate, but as I said, this is when the episode gets real because
Yeah.
They're doing a whole bit. Oh, they're using their voice and they've got
it's like
they got Brutus captured and
Kooky
it's
kid
like
stuff.
we're doing
yeah.
kooky kid stuff. No.
No.
I'm killing this guy and we are cutting the crap and we're getting straight to business.
Yeah, and like to the kids too, like that's a little bit more like, oh, he just shot that guy in the head in front of a bunch of kids.
Yeah,
so it's like it's not funny.
Do you think they're traumatized by that, or do you think they've
Probably.
already traumatized from before?
I don't think they've seen anyone get shot in the face yet. So
Yeah, that is pretty bad.
yeah, and especially because they're gonna feel guilty about like scooping Brutus. So the kids.
I mean,
like,
they're like, we killed that guy, basically.
like,
Yeah,
they're
they'll
like-
probably internalize that. They definitely need to see some therapy.
100%. Yeah.
Speaking of
it's-
therapy, have you seen Shrinking
no,
on Apple TV Plus?
no, I don't have Apple TV.
It is a really great show.
Oh, okay.
It makes me very sad, but it's a very good show. It's sad in a good way. It's like you know what
yeah,
that means.
yeah.
It's funny, but also super sad. And maybe Harrison Ford, speaking of Star Wars, Harrison Ford's best performance
Huh.
in like maybe a decade. So,
Interesting.
including maybe his Star Wars performances, I would
Well
like
then.
it from the sequel trilogy anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's just like born to play this like grumpy old grouch of a therapist in that show.
Huh.
It's a great show. It's 2 seasons, and I can't recommend it high enough. So, yeah, and they're gonna want to go talk to some therapists after this. These kids.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely.
So now that the episode has gotten real, what you're really sensing here is the stakes have just gone from here to here.
Yeah.
Because murder's back on the table.
Yep.
And it really amps up the sense of danger.
Yeah.
But as I said, the momentum really just starts to pick up even from here.
Definitely.
Like Jod seizes back power, and he becomes scarier and scarier as a character
Yeah, he does.
as from this moment forward.
Maybe this is where the mad Captain Silva was coming from. You
Maybe.
know? Like, it's like, okay, maybe he is the
Maybe-
mad Captain Silva. He'll
I-
shoot a
that's
guy
a
in the
good point.
head and get what he wants, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's that's what they're seeing. They're seeing that side of him now.
Travis, I think they were traumatized by the acrobat hologram their parents made them watch. That's a children. That's like being traumatized by Caillou. It's like, why does
By
Caillou not have any
clowns?
hair? Like, it's weird. I guess Caillou's supposed to be a baby, but it's like
yeah, he's supposed
it's
to just
very
be
weird.
No, he's supposed to be 4.
He has no hair though.
Yeah,
Yeah, weird.
worst kid.
Yeah.
My kid will never watch that shit.
It's the worst. I hate that show.
Just him whining.
It's so everything about it is annoying.
Yeah,
I mean, I know every child kids show is annoying. I assume except for Bluey, I assume. But
Blue's very cute.
but
Most of them are terrible.
but Caillou's the worst.
yeah.
Yeah, like there's got to be something. There's got to be better. Like, can't you put like Sesame Park on or something like that?
Did you say Sesame Park?
Yeah, isn't that one of them?
Sesame Street?
Yeah, Sesame Park was like the Canadian offshoot
I
of
have
it.
no idea what you're talking
You never heard of
about.
Sesame Park?
No.
It's a deep cut. People know what I'm talking about. Yeah, no, it's a thing. swear to God. Swear
Are you talking about
to God.
Fraggles? Like
Nope.
Fraggle Rock?
Sesame Park.
Okay.
I'm telling you. I'm not. This is.
Bootleg
It
Sesame
had
Street.
it had Sesame Street characters in it, but they
It was in a
weren't on
park.
the street. They were in a park.
Ah, okay. All right. Fair. I believe you.
Yeah,
I believe you.
it's a whole thing. Anyway, Jod gets the crew in line by calling Brutus a quote backstabbing mutineer, suggesting
Yeah.
that if anyone was loyal to him, they'd meet the same fate. This is like the classic
Yeah.
pirate logic, which is
Yeah.
like that whoever is in power is in charge, gets to dictate. Was the previous person a good person or not? No. Sorry, what?
Travis. I read that. There's one episode of Caillou where he falls off his bike and bleeds, and when I need to cheer myself up, I look it up.
That's some dark stuff, Travis. Maybe you do see some therapy.
No, that cracked me up. I have a kid. I'm like, that's funny. Yeah.
That's really funny.
It's funny. I get it.
Okay, so he immediately starts barking orders, having the kids take the kids into custody. 33 needs to come to him so he can figure out the ship thing, and then get the frigate ready for taking the planet.
Mm-hmm.
So right back in charge, and the pirate crew seem totally fine with
Oh
that.
yeah, they're like cool.
Also, do you feel like the pirate crew's big enough? Like, is there enough pirates for a ship that size? But it is a skeleton
The
crew. Is the
skeleton
name
crew.
of the
I was gonna say skeleton crew.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
And they did lose a few pirates on the last planet.
Yes, they did. Well, they didn't lose a whole ship,
Yeah, I think they
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
so
Anyway, so really cool shot of Jod staring out at the planet as the music kind of swells up here. Yeah, that like sense of like impending madness. I feel like you
Yeah.
can see it on his
Yeah.
face. Jude Law, again, doing good work here.
so good. Yeah.
The kids are being watched over by Kona after they've been taken into custody. That's
Mhm.
the female pirate played by, I don't know if
I
it's
think she's
uh,
the one from Orange is the New
no,
No?
this Cisa Gray plays Kona, and she
Oh,
is
yes, okay,
from
never
a
mind.
couple of other things. She is from The Next Goal Wins, which is a fun movie. Bosch and Grey's Anatomy,
Okay.
and a few other things. CSI Vegas. She's a character actor, but a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Magnum PI. So they're being watched by this female pirate, and sorry, I've lost my place in my notes here. Black Second Engineer. Kids are being watched by Conan. Okay, and another pirate in the same room with them aboard the Cinder as Jod, now back in his Captain Silvo helmet
Yeah.
and jacket,
Mm-hmm.
is ordering 33 to extract whatever device allows the ship to get past the barrier. He's like, the ship is the key. Take whatever it is that makes this ship get past the barrier. I want that on the frigate.
Yeah.
Right. And the plan is to again to solve that in the frigate. Could they have just flown the frigate into the thing with the Onyx Cinder in
I
the
don't
holding
think
bay?
so.
Is that a
No.
loophole that's a logical loophole that we can't abide,
I
right?
don't think so. I just feel like it wouldn't have the system wouldn't have recognized that the Onyx Cinder was in there. But
Sorry, I was looking at Travis's comment again. It's funny. There's not the one about Caillou bleeding, but there was a show called Boobas with a fat furry baby thing who hops in circles in public parks, propelled by their own farts. And so I watched that a lot as a kid, and I've never heard of that, and
Never
that's
heard of that either.
certainly crazier than Sesame Park. But I appreciate it. So yeah, I guess the loophole is not they wouldn't want to risk it. I guess
Right.
ultimately, couldn't they? What if they had the ship out? I guess in theory we kind of see this play out because some of the fighter ships are like right next to the Onyx Cinder as they fly in,
and
and
they're
they get
getting
blown
like
up.
pinpointed
Yeah.
and blown up. It's like
So it probably wouldn't work.
no, I don't think
Right.
so.
It's worth a shot. You have to ask.
Yeah.
Anyway, he does remind the audience that the reason that they can't just take the Onyx Cinder in is because they need the firepower from the frigate. You know, as they said, the Onyx Cinder was clad in armor and ready
Yeah.
to take on the town,
Right.
whatever the planet. So he needed something big enough to do that. But just as they're kind of like working on this stuff, they receive a communication from the parents. The buoy arrives and they get the transmission. And it's played by hologram aboard the Cinder's bridge, close enough for the kids to see it. It's
Mhm.
important, obviously, the kids are able to see it. So the music takes on a kind of a sweet tone, and I think this scene is a very touching scene, and it definitely got to me. Like it's just like this idea. It's very heartwarming to see like these parents' messages of
Yeah.
love for their kids,
Yeah.
especially when you know that they were recorded. They were recording those without ever knowing that they would reach them,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it's like this combination of instructions, but also encouragement and
Mhm.
vulnerability from the parents. It's very
Yeah.
touching for me. It worked. Did it work for you?
Oh, 100%. Those are the same kind of like that's like something I would send if my kid was messed up and was gone and
Yeah,
missing.
you gotta
Like,
start
it's
with,
just, like,
don't
it gets
worry-
you right in the fields.
Don't
You're
worry,
not in trouble.
you're not in trouble.
Yeah,
is
of
always the
course.
first one you start
Yeah,
with. But
you
they're
have to.
definitely in trouble.
They're going to
Yeah.
be dealing with this story for the rest of their
Yeah.
lives.
Hey,
It's gonna get
remember-
brought up every family
Remember when you
gathering.
escaped our prison planet? What's it like out there? That's what
Yeah.
they're going to be asking him.
Yeah. What are you going to do? Run away off planet again?
I liked
yeah.
when the droids were like, "Hello, children. It's not allowed to. You're not
Yeah.
allowed to leave the barrier."
Just so matter of fact. like,
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Yeah. Good
Uh,
Lord.
So kind of the takeaways from this are, we love you and we're not mad at you.
Yeah. Here's how to get home.
Here's how to get home.
yeah.
I do think it's a little bit of like, hey, we love you, but we also love these rules a lot. So
yeah.
we're not going to tell you exactly how to get home.
Well, I think they can't because they can't just relay that
Yeah, but okay,
information to
true.
what.
But they didn't have to
whoever.
say they were from At-Atten. They could have just said,
Yeah.
here's how you get home. If you know who we are and
Yeah, that's
where
true.
you're from, we don't have to say where we're from.
Yeah.
You know where we're from. So here are
That's true.
the exact. You know what I mean? I feel like
Yeah.
that's a loophole that they could have exploited. Travis says, "I wish the message scene went on longer, like in Interstellar." Yeah, I guess, but that's a very different. Like they're going for a different emotional gut punch in that scene in
Yeah.
Interstellar. That is kind of the similar goal, but Star Wars doesn't really have the time. And this episode, as we said, is like moving at like a pretty good clip. So
yeah.
they gotta kind of keep the momentum going. So KB gets a "Don't give up, don't worry about your maintenance." There's a whole piece that's kind of cut off where
Well,
it's
just
like
as long as you don't
stay
get
dry.
wet. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know.
But it's okay. She figured it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you can make it home, Neil. My sweet boy,
That
my
one
sweet
got me.
baby boy. She says that's a cute one.
That one. And then they told him about his little brother.
Brother, he's like
two.
he got a he's like he got a datery for it. He got a
Yeah.
loony for it.
Ugh.
And then, but all he wanted was his brother back.
Yeah, that got me. It's
Wah.
getting me now.
Yeah, it's good. It's like these are like someone in the
Yeah.
writing room was like, "What would you write to your kids?" And they're like,
Yeah.
"I got it. Don't
Yeah.
worry, I
They're
got
like,
it."
How can we make everyone cry right now?
Yeah, and it worked.
Yeah.
Can transmit coordinates due to security procedures, but find a Republic emissary. And this is, by the way, Wim's dad. All business.
I
He
know.
does have the "I'm sorry I didn't listen to you.
Yeah.
I didn't
yeah.
believe you." Which fair enough, but like maybe lead with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
little softer there, Wim's
Yeah.
dad. Again, I told you I don't like Wim's dad.
He's kind of designed to be unlikable, but
I know he's like that gruff
he's just a
single
busy
dad,
dad.
just doing his
Yeah,
best. Yeah, I know. Like, be
Anyway,
softer.
find a Republic emissary, an official who knows the secret location of the planet and knows how to get through the barrier. And he says,
Yeah.
"Don't worry." And the barrier is dangerous, so don't just try to like fly back through, which is a good like bit
Yeah.
of information. He also says, "Don't tell anyone where you're from." And I do like Jod being like, "Oops."
Yeah.
Yeah. Travis agrees the Neil part got to him as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean that's
yeah.
the like as we said, their family unit is clearly the most like emotionally healthy.
Yeah.
So it's not surprising that they were the first ones to be like, you
To-
know,
yeah,
to
just say
be
something that-
like emotionally honest.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
yeah. Exactly.
Neil's dad looks like the dad in the Goldbergs. I don't know. I know that show, but I can't make the connection.
Yeah.
For it. You're gonna have to. Someone's gonna have to help me out on that one later, or I'll look it up later. Okay. And then yes, Wim. I'm sorry I didn't listen, but like, that's the last thing that they hear. Rough.
Yeah.
Imagine hearing this if you're just like a random broadcast that you're receiving. It's like, oof, that's bad news. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But also like, but theoretically, you could trace the signal, couldn't you?
Well, they know where it's coming from. The planet's right in front of them.
Yeah, no, they do. But if the signal gets out further,
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing we don't really know is like how far that thing's broadcast.
I feel like there's no way that this series ends and At-Atten's still a secret,
yeah, probably not.
right?
Too many people know about it now. Know where it is.
Well, it's like, again, we talked about this at the beginning.
They have to
But-
blow up all the pirates.
No one can leave.
Yeah. Well, and didn't
With-
they get
and
the
know the
coordinates
secret.
from Kim anyway? Like, so Kim has.
No,
the
Kim
coordinates.
doesn't have the coordinates.
Oh, right, 'cause they took them.
They went to that different planet.
Right.
Right.
Never
And
mind, you're
then
right.
from there, they went to
Yes, they did the whole thing.
the La Lupa or whatever it's
Mhm.
called. And then turns out, yeah, you could go back and get them there. That's true.
Yeah.
But you would have to like retrace all those steps.
Right.
Whim is what happens when Caillou gets hair, Travis says. That's not fair. Whim's not that annoying.
He's not that whiny.
But that's probably what Jod's thinking,
Yeah.
to be honest. Anyway, so they receive the communication. The kids are able to see it. This message inspires the kids to take action, to take back the ship. But again, bad plan. Because
He's
Whim
just
is
like, fight.
yeah,
get
like,
up."
yeah,
Like,
it's
what?
like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, you're babies.
They're immediately taken hostage again.
Yeah.
Silva said it's always nice to have a hostage.
Yeah.
Whim calls Jod a liar,
Mm-hmm.
which is, I think, maybe like one of the worst things as a kid, like you could consider
Oh,
saying
yeah.
to somebody. But
Yeah.
like, what's depressing about that is that when you get older, you realize that everyone's a liar,
Everyone's a liar.
and then
Yeah.
it's like, oh, that's depressing.
Yeah.
And then
Kids
by
also lie all the time.
yeah, I know, but that's what I mean. It's like, well, it's like.
But yeah.
It seems like it's that people should care about that more, but then as you get older, you realize that no one cares.
Yeah.
In fact, people will let people lie to their face and be happy about it.
Yeah, it's true.
So-
But like kids, I think take particular like offense to lying because they're told not to lie. and
Yeah.
Their parents tell them not
Right,
to lie.
and then
right?
turns
And
out the
it's
world
like-
doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Can't wait till my kid starts telling me stupid lies. I just
Right.
know he's
Okay,
lying. It's
buddy.
so funny.
Yeah.
Can't wait. I'm gonna write them all down.
Was it you that ate all the chocolate?
Yeah, no.
No,
It's all over his face.
the dog ate it all.
We don't have a dog.
Anyway, he says that Jod's a liar because they're the ones that found the ship first,
Mhm.
and that means it's their ship. Anyway, this causes 33 to chime in and remind Jod that due to the pirate code, he can't be the captain of more than one ship at a time,
Right.
which is an interesting loophole that they introduced in the pirate code. And that since he had taken over command of the frigate, the Onyx Cinder was technically unattested and unclaimed.
Yeah.
So Whim tries to call claimsies,
Yeah.
but Jod is quick and covers the kid's mouth,
Yeah.
and then reminds everyone, including 33, that he's the captain.
Yeah.
Which does seem to work at first, but it does give Fern an idea. So she calls unclaimsies
Yeah.
and then claims the ship for kids only,
Yeah.
and I guess a droid, ordering 33 to remove the pirates from the ship. So this mostly just amuses Jod.
Yeah.
He's like, well, it doesn't really work that way.
Yeah.
But
33.
immediately just gets punched straight in the face.
But 33, he's like, close enough. I love
Yeah,
it. Again,
I-
cackled.
but it is close enough.
Like, but it is close. And I was like, what the
Okay,
fuck?
so what is going on here in your estimation?
Well, they explain claimsies and unclaimsies like
To-
earlier, like in
to-
like the first episode.
to 33.
No. the
And
kids-
I know that claims. I know how claimsies and unclaimsies
Yeah.
work in the context of the kids, but But how does it work in
I
context
don't-
of
I don't
33?
know. I really don't know. I guess it probably has some pirate basis. Like maybe that's where the claimsies and unclaimsies comes from in general. Is
Oh, yeah,
pirate lore?
claims he's as a pirate.
Yeah.
It's written into the pirate code. But again, he says here, agreeing with Jod that that's not how it works, but says it's close
it's
enough.
close enough, yeah.
Because
I think it is though because Jod's still trying to have 2 ships. Like he's still trying to command 2, and I think,
Right.
you know, SM-33 is like, well, no, like you've been unclaimed this
Yeah,
because you've got the other one.
Travis says, fuck the script.
Yeah. I think that's part of it too. Like, you know, maybe SM-33 is like, I've had enough of this guy. Like, whatever.
I get this, the sense that I get of it, like the way it reads to me, is that like he likes the kids more.
Yeah, that's what I kind of think
That
too.
the-
Like he's
the-
like, whatever. Like I'm gonna let it slide. 'cause
Yeah.
I like them better.
It's a loophole. It's like he's like, I'll allow it.
yeah,
Bang.
yeah, exactly.
You know? Yeah.
yeah.
He's like, technically
I'll
we don't know.
allow
We don't normally do this. It's very unorthodox.
yeah, but I like these kids,
But
so
I'll allow
F
it.
you.
Yeah,
yeah.
like every cop show,
Yeah,
or with like a judge.
yeah.
We
I'll
don't
allow it.
we don't normally do it this way, and it would never be done this way. But I'll allow it.
Yeah,
So we got a great. This is the third shocker of the episode, the punch in the face. Loved that.
unclaimsies.
Well, yeah, the unclaimsies and claimsies thing is funny. It's just a
It
fun
is.
like through line thing.
Yeah,
And so we then proceed. 33 then proceeds to throw the rest of the pirates off the Cinder and take off, leaving the frigate behind as the remaining pirates shoot at the Cinder as it leaves the docking bay. As this is happening, we get a musical cue. It's like staccato horn blasts, which remind me of the moment before the Death Star explodes. Like bum,
yeah,
bum, 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 bum,
yeah,
bum,
yeah.
bum, bum, and it almost goes on too long, and
Yeah.
then it explodes. Yeah. That we get a similar kind of musical cue here as they make their escape, which is cool. We do technically see Jod wake up before the ship leaves. It's important to note for later.
Right. Okay.
Travis says, in movies when people just stand up in courtrooms, walk around, and
Yeah.
give an Oscar speech,
Yeah.
I'll allow it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
I'll
allow
allow
it. Yeah.
it. I could see the kids going to the New Republic as representatives of Adad. Would the kids be the New Republic representatives, or would it be their parents? It would be their parents, right?
Yeah. I don't know.
If the New Republic was like, oh crap, look, we have our own mint.
yeah.
Who knew? And then Mon Mothma's like, cool, great. Well, we're gonna need those billions of dollars to have them stolen? Question
Yeah.
mark. I did like.
Yeah.
Their theory was that this money is what like funds the new order, like the First Order, or funds like
Yeah.
Palpatine's like secret army
yeah,
and
could be.
on what's that stupid planet called?
Octu? No.
No, the one with all the lightning.
I know. I can't remember.
Yeah, it's a bad movie. Anyway, over there
Yeah.
in like the unknown regions, but again, it's not really like lining up yet because, I mean, maybe it is. I mean, it's a lot of money.
yeah.
How many ships can you make with billions of credits over
Probably a lot.
30 years or so? Probably a lot.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. They build ships fast in Star Wars. And they all get their own Death Star beam.
Yeah.
It's crazy. God, the episode 9 sucks so much.
We can't do this.
It's just so bad. It's just like a bad idea. Like, why would you think that's a good idea? Oh, an army of ships that we've never seen before that all have Death Star rays on them.
This is why I need a bell. I need a bell to ring when we
Bing.
go on episode 7, 8, 9 rants.
It's just
randomly
9.
every time.
7 and 8 are fine. 8's good even.
I know. It's usually like, what's good about episode 8 or a
And
rant
what's
about
bad
what's
about
shit about
Well, it's because
episode
every
9.
time it comes up, it just comes up in conversation, and then you're like, oh wow, I forgot how shitty that was, or I forgot how
every
great that
time.
was in the case of episode 8.
Someone started tally this year on how many times Julian messaged.
Yeah, we got like a
Yeah.
counter on the side of the screen.
How many times he goes on a rant about one of those 2 movies.
How can I start? How can we make a counter? I don't know how we would
I
do that, but
know.
I would like to know. Okay, let's get back on track here. So anyway, the ship is off. It leaves. I do love what's his name? The one of the pirates with the thing on his face.
That's Urkel.
Urkel. Yes, but what's the pirate's name is?
It's something dumb.
Yeah. Hold on. I've in front of me. I'm just
Gunter.
Gunter. Gunter.
Got it.
He calls him Gunter.
Gunter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Gunter. And he's like,
Then
why
Umlaut.
did you send out the onyx cinder? What's going on?
Yeah.
It's so funny to me.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So Vane steps in and he's like, "I got this. Send out ships. We're gonna chase it down.
Mm-hmm.
It's the ship is the key." So we get a good look at the storm generator satellite things, and they look really, really good.
Yeah.
Like from
Yeah.
a visual effects standpoint, and they do look
I
a
love
lot like
this.
the Operation Cinder ones, like almost exactly the same, which is
Mhm.
interesting. And yeah, naming convention aside, the use of cinder in both contexts is weird, but
yeah, it's true.
yeah. Cool that they have like red lights that turn green when the ship flies by.
Yeah.
It's a kind of cool
It's
idea.
like, bing, you're
visual
fine.
visual
Yeah.
representation.
Yeah. Very neat. No, this whole part looked so good.
Travis Mitchell says it's a salt flat with storms. When Kylo lands, revealed the crashed remains of Tapoca City, revealing its Camino, and the water has been sucked into the planet for resources. That would have worked. Yeah, yeah, that would have been cool. Literally anything else than what we got at whatever stupid planet that's called. I
Yeah.
really wish I remembered where all the Sith acolytes are. Who
Yeah.
who are them? Who are they? They're just
They're ghosts.
yeah.
I don't know.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I won't go on the rant here. So 33 comments as they're on their way. They think they're safe. How they're able to get past the barrier unharmed, saying that it was the Captain Renaud's genius, quote, stealing one of the Mint's own ships so he could fly it safely back through. It's not a pirate ship. It's an At-Atten ship.
Exegol.
Exegol, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. How could we forget?
Yeah.
As they break through the storm, the music lightens up as the sun shines on their faces, and we get a first look at the planet kind of from their own planet. They get to
Right.
see their own planet from this perspective for the first time. I
Yeah.
mean,
It looks so tiny.
it looks small inside the, like...
Yeah, I didn't realize how big that storm. Like, I kind of just thought the storm was going to be just around, like very close
Me too.
to the planet. But it was like, oh, there's like a whole like
There's a lot of space in between.
which is very interesting. But
It's kind of weird, actually.
yeah, it is odd. I was like, oh, it looks teeny. But
Anyway, we get a good view of the planet. I don't know. Maybe the kids had a moment where, like, you know how the first time people were into space and they saw the planet from space for the first time. They're like,
Yeah.
wow, like took their breath away,
Right,
kind of
right,
thing. You
yeah.
think I imagine they had a similar experience here, even though they've been on this big space adventure.
right, yeah.
They get to see their own planet, right? So they get locked into an autopilot landing sequence, which is just like they did on the other, like,
Right.
ancient planet, the one with the French revolutionaries.
Yes, yes.
But Neil remembers it as the one with the French girl,
Yeah.
which is cute.
Very cute.
He's got a crush.
Oh.
With a smile on her face, Fern says the name of the episode, which
Yeah.
is "We're going to be in so much trouble." But she says she doesn't care anymore. Happy to have kind of been on the adventure all along, and
Yeah.
it was all worth it. But Jod chimes in, suggesting that, and you're like, "What? Where'd Jod come from?" But he
Yeah.
chimes in saying that maybe she should worry about how much trouble she's in
Yeah.
because he's back, and his presence alone brings the fourth shocker of the episode, like
Yeah.
the fourth big, whoa, what's going on here? Quickly followed by the fifth, which is when he decapitates 33 with the
Yeah.
lightsaber that hasn't been talked about since 2 episodes ago.
Yeah.
How did you feel about this moment?
It was just kind of scary. Like, it's just the scenes going after this are so awful and heartbreaking. But yeah, I mean, obviously he has to incapacitate 33 because 33 is just gonna kill him.
Yeah.
Like, it's like that has to be his move.
He's
but-
like, you stay here, kids. I'll handle this.
yeah, right. But it's just such a bummer. Like, obviously we've seen 33 get wrecked like a few times now.
Yeah.
And he's been fine each time. Also, I didn't really like that he like almost stepped on the little mouse either.
Oh, yeah. So
Like, so close to just
'Kay,
squishing that little
so
snowball or
it's crazy.
fuzzball or whatever its name
it's
is.
Snowball, right?
Something like
I
that.
think that's right.
But I was like, he almost killed him.
How did he get on the ship, though? That's the question
I don't know.
like.
Well, he was already on
No,
it.
he was not. He was clearly in the next to all the other pirates that were thrown off the ship.
Right.
He woke up just in time, I guess maybe because he had a helmet on.
Yeah.
He wasn't knocked out for
I
as long.
guess, yeah.
But like it seemed to me that the ship was leaving already, but maybe I'm misremembering. Anyway, he made it on. It doesn't really matter.
I know he's a Jedi super fast.
He did that speed thing that
The
only a
speed thing.
Jedi can do only
That only-
one time we saw.
Yeah.
That right? It's so crazy. Why even include it if you're never going to do it again? Travis says those weren't Sith acolytes. Korn played a show on Exegol. Some weirdos showed up and they never left. Yeah, that's fair. I
Yeah.
mean, they do seem like Korn fans.
Yeah,
They do.
would be.
Korn with a K, obviously.
Hey, I like some corn songs, okay?
Yeah, so do I. There's
Okay,
a really
yeah.
there's some
There's
good
some
ones.
good ones.
There's some good ones. There's a fun Korn Biggie mashup.
Oh, I'd be into that.
That's a good one. Anyway, from this moment forward, Jod proceeds to not only threaten the kids with the lightsaber, but also almost steps on Snowball, and in the process, essentially erases any audience credibility or sympathy that he
Yeah.
might have had left, and goes on a full heel turn. And
Yeah.
heel turn obviously is a wrestling
Yeah.
terminology,
Yeah.
but it essentially just means when you
Turn
break
back.
bad,
Yeah.
turn bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
It did seem intentional that Jod nudged the mouse aside instead of stepping on him.
Kind of.
Maybe
Yeah,
are we
it's
supposed to
like
look at that as like he didn't crush the mouse, so that's better?
Yeah, it's like almost like he could have killed him, but he didn't. I guess.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
no, I know. I know what you're saying. 'Cause
Yeah.
I kind of know that too. It's like, oh, I thought for a second.
I don't think
he
he's.
did.
I think he's not even looking at the mouse. I think he just walks over and almost steps on it. That's
Yeah,
the
I
like the
know.
read I had. But I think again, as the audience, we want to find any ounce
Yeah.
of redemption in him. So we're
I
willing to believe.
know.
Oh well, it's a sign that he's still got some good in him because he didn't step on
He
the
didn't kill
mouse.
the mouse. Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
I know.
I think
Hey,
they called him
but-
a rat actually, but it's fair enough.
Yeah.
Anyway, he tries sending a message to the frigate, but the barrier jams it. And then he tries flying the ship, but the kids remind him that the ship is on autopilot. And at this
And he's
point,
like, I know.
he snaps
Yeah.
and basically lashes out at the kids and is needlessly cruel.
Oh yeah.
So he goes after Neil first, which is like, seems like it's just the
Yeah.
low-hanging fruit, I guess. But it's like, man, that kid is not. Actually,
No.
I feel like he handles it way better than Wim does. But
Well, that's true. I was like, but you don't go after Neil.
Yeah,
He's
like-
the sweet one.
he's like, yeah, you just yammer on.
Oh,
you know.
I know. And then, but it's so sweet. Like Wim tries to stand up for him, and then he's like, "You're worse. You're worse than
You're
he is.
you're worse than
You're the
yeah.
worst one." It's like, oh my god.
And then just a single tear. Oh my
I
god.
know, it's so sad. Berating kids until they cry is like
It's-
kind of
but it's like-
next level.
Yeah, it's also not that hard to do.
No, it's not.
But at the same time, it's like
you're an adult.
you
Like,
can't be doing that. But
No.
like
It's so mean.
it's clearly he's like come unglued.
yes.
You know,
He's gone mad.
yeah.
He's mad with power.
He's mad.
with
he's the
wanting
mad
treasure.
captain.
He's going full Daenerys Stormborn.
Kinda.
yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Where it's just this kind of turn. But again, that's the thing. It's like greed and like
Yeah, but we knew that like
Power
this could have
corrupts.
happened. We
Yeah.
already heard about how on the original flight to At-Atten, how all the pirates went mad with greed.
yeah, and killed each other.
and
yeah,
then
yeah.
and then we had already heard Jod talk about how they don't pirates don't value life.
No.
You have a lot to learn about
just
pirates.
treasure. Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and he's a pirate.
He refilled that chamber with acid,
Yeah.
hoping that would kill those other pirates. Then the kids fell through that hole when we all assumed they were dead. He seemed kind of fine with it,
Yeah, he's like, what?
you know.
Didn't care. Yeah, that's the
So
thing. Like
he gave us a lot of hints, but there was also moments where
Yeah.
when he had conversation with Wim about how he's got a strong imagination,
yeah.
and and all that stuff.
That's what I mean. Like, he gave us those little hints of a soft side, so we're like, or like, those pieces of a soft side. So we were like, oh, okay. But then now, and that heel turn, but it makes the heel turn harder. It makes it like hit harder, and that's the point, right? Like,
Yeah, but that's
if
good
you're-
storytelling.
it is good storytelling. If you have this full heel turn moment, that's captivating for the audience,
Mhm.
right? So they did it very well, and like Jude Law played this character so well.
It's a believable frustration that he's feeling right now.
Yeah.
He's like, he feels like he's getting set back. He's like, okay, he one step forward, two steps back.
yeah.
I'm finally back in charge, but now you guys try to run off on me.
Yeah, he's like had enough of these
And
kids.
it's like
yeah.
you guys have been a thorn in my side since the moment you were thrown in my jail cell.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
So all would have been solved if Brutus had just did the right thing and just killed Silvo immediately.
Just airlocked you immediately. Yeah.
Okay, so he does this whole lashing out thing. He challenges Fern, and she doesn't. I think that was the one of the crazy part too. He's like, "What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
What are you going to do?" And she just has nothing.
Yeah.
And he tells them that when they land, they'll follow his lead, and if not, he threatens their families.
Oh, and the way he says it too, he's like, "Oh, I'm glad I saw what they
Oh,
look
I know.
like. I'm glad I got to see that because like now I know." It's like, "Oh man, you're fucking evil,
Yeah,
man."
it's really wild.
Like that's so terrifying to children to
Be
be
like-
like threaten to kill their parents. And also, no offense, but like especially to Wim, his mom's already gone. You're like threatening to make him an orphan.
He's not thinking about that.
Yeah, no, I know. It's just like you're threatening to make all these kids orphans at this point.
I just don't think we're supposed to at this point believe he does not give a shit about any of those things, which is
Yeah.
makes him a compelling villain.
Yeah, absolutely.
I enjoyed seeing your parents' faces on the comm earlier.
Ugh.
It makes it easy to know who to carve up. Carve up?
Carve up.
Ooh,
yeah.
good words. I will piece by piece, he says, slowly if you don't behave. Again, this scene, as I kind of talked about at the very beginning, and as it kind of came into the scene, is the like cross the Rubicon moment for Jod. I think for most people, I think that again, you can find little hints and things that he's gone too far. The show very well will likely have him redeem himself next episode.
Yeah, we'll see.
But it does feel cheap if that's the case, because this is pretty fucked up shit.
I'm okay with him being a bad guy. Like it's a compelling story and it worked, and I am okay with he stays to be bad. I don't need there to be this warm and fuzzy outcome for Jod.
Jod, nah, no good.
Yeah.
Travis says it's partially wanting to like Jude Law, and I think that's fair. But even when he's threatening the kids, he comes off like he's more bark than bite.
Yeah, like he doesn't fully mean it.
Like he doesn't fully mean it.
I know, but then the part of you is like, does he mean it? Does he?
I think
is he just trying to scare him? Does he know that that's going to scare them?
I think he's got like that crazy eye. Like, and like, there's the scene 2 episodes ago when they find the treasure and he takes over the captaincy. When he's talking to Fern, he's like, "Don't make me hurt you."
Yeah.
And it's like,
I don't want to hurt you. And I took it as like he really didn't want to, but he's just.
I didn't in that time. I always took it like.
No, I know.
It was way more serious than that.
Yeah.
Like, he was done messing around. He's done messing around here, and he's waving a lightsaber in their face.
Yeah.
It's important to remember that he's holding an extremely deadly weapon.
Yeah.
And he just decapitated. He just used it.
Yeah. Right?
On their only ally.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's one thing to threaten somebody with a gun, but it's another to threaten someone with a gun after you shoot somebody.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, any other thoughts on any of this stuff?
No, it's just sad.
It's sad.
It's
it is
just
sad.
sad.
It's
You're like,
sad when somebody you trust betrays your trust.
It's just, it gets you, but I loved it.
It's effective.
It's very effective.
Back on the planet, their parents have been gathered in a conference room. I guess you can be stunned, but you don't go to jail. You just go to conference. To be honest, conference room is kind of
Sounds
jail.
Worse. Yeah.
It's kind of its own form of jail.
Yeah.
And they're waiting to hear, I guess, the latest news. A droid tells them that they are all in violation of security protocols, asking why they released the comms device. They basically explain that they were left no other choice, and that droids never listen, and then they like immediately listen to what they're saying. It's like a great little beat. They're interrupted by a message from the supervisor, voiced by Stephen Fry, which is, unlike the other surprises, a fun one. This is a fun surprise.
Yeah.
Announced that an emissary is arriving for shipment and suspends all non-essential work. They get a signal from KB's life monitor at this moment.
I like that.
So this gives them a sense of, the kids are here. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, the ship lands on a hidden planet, like a hidden platform beneath a park, it seems like.
Yeah, it looks like it has not been used in a very long time.
Does not, and it seems to me...
Like, people don't even know it's there.
No. I was like, someone for sure fell in there. Yeah. I was like, someone was like having a picnic and then like fell into that hole. Seems likely.
Yeah. People were just like, what the hell is happening?
It's cool. It looks really good, though.
Yeah.
It is cool that they focused in on that like landing gear, like being locked in.
Locked in, yeah.
So they can't just like fly off whenever he wants. And something that I feel like Jod didn't notice for some reason, but they showed it to us. So I think ideas that the characters are supposed to probably be aware. To some degree. Jod is greeted by a security droid, because that's the only people of authority on this planet, who confirms that he's the quote visiting Republic emissary. He's like, yep, no, that's me. And then he says that he found the kids, he calls them waifs, on his way.
Yeah.
And then the droid acknowledges that the kids exist, and that they broke the rules, and that's it. Planet-wide protocol demands that any visiting emissary proceed directly to the Mint to begin offload procedures. So is it offloading the stuff from the planet or offloading stuff from the ship?
It could be either. Like, it could be offloading.
That's
one
confusing.
way or the other way, but you're right. Yeah.
Wouldn't it onloading or loading? Would just be loading, right? Loading. I guess offloading sounds better.
Yeah, and they're technically offloading.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Okay. It's the Mint is offloading.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so Jod asks to speak to his other ship, but the droids aren't really listening, as we've heard before. They don't listen. As the ship platform is then lowered into the ground, which I also thought looked really cool.
Yeah.
As a droid says that it'll alert the parents about the kids, and Jod has the droids keep them on the ship for their own safety, which is kind of similar to the "we'll stun you for your own safety" earlier. They pass the actual mint itself on the way down, and it looks really fucking cool.
Yeah.
Complete with a rhythmic hammering sound, which I think feels appropriate. I don't know if it makes sense. Like, I don't know if that's what mints sound like, but
Yeah.
I like the idea that there's hammering. Like,
Yeah, like punching.
Yeah,
It makes sense
exactly.
that they're like
It's
punching
cool as
out
hell.
The,
Yeah.
stamping things, right?
it's got a whole golden hue going,
Mm-hmm.
and there's like some giant robot orb
Yeah, that
at the
was cool.
center of it. We get this fun exchange. It's quite the operation you have here. So this is a reference to episode 2, Star Wars episode 2,
Oh, okay.
Attack of the Clones.
Oh, yes.
Quite the operation. We'd hoped you'd be pleased,
Yeah.
which is, of course, a line that the Kaminoans say.
Yeah.
Again, Jod tries to argue for speak to his other ship, but he's told he'll have to talk to the supervisor, and his response is, "Okay, fine, go fetch him, along with your finest refreshments, thank you."
Yeah.
I like the idea that he's used to just getting drinks given to him now, ever
Yeah.
since that. He's like, stern but fair.
Yeah.
They arrive at the vault. It slowly opens. Again, more gold shining hue on Jod's face. And it's revealed just how giant the vault is and just how many credits we're talking about. Again, billions. I think if you consider there's maybe easily billions of them in the vault itself,
Yeah.
then you could argue there's maybe trillions
Yeah. It's
there's
like,
of credits on
endless. Yeah. There's
It's really
still
crazy.
stamping it, still making it.
Yeah.
Just filling
Think about the
vaults.
inflationary situation that would
Just
happen.
Only just excessively printing money.
Yeah, everyone ever talks
not
about
winning anything.
the inflationary situation in the galactic economy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the fix. Just print more money.
Yeah, everyone
Yeah.
knows that.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, like, again, Jod doesn't need all of this money. He just needs, like, 4 or 5 of these carts, maybe
Yeah.
tops. And,
Yeah.
like, that'd be enough for him and his crew to retire handsomely.
Yeah. But he's greedy. They're always
And they
greedy.
always want more.
Yeah.
And that's when they get you.
Yeah.
If he's like, hey, listen, just take all this stuff now, find a way to leave.
Yep.
You'll be fine. But no, you're going to
No, he
want to
wants
try
all of
to
it.
like destroy this whole planet so that you can have all the money,
Yeah.
or maybe he wants to control the money making of the money.
Yeah. Yeah. Control the whole planet.
Yeah.
It's like, because he's very focused on getting his ship through.
Mhm.
So.
Anyway, the music takes a very sinister tone here with this like sharp strings playing and like at a more and more quickly. It's very harsh. The Screen Crush guys alluded like to the scene where Anakin kills the Sand People in episode 2.
Okay.
As a similar musical cue there. And they their comparison was that it was a moment of someone kind of like Breaking Bad also for that moment.
Yeah, like going mad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then it's capped with a very distinct like evil Sith motif. It's not specifically that, but it's like the bum 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 essentially equivalent in Star Wars that we get at that moment, which is like the bad guys won, bum
Yeah.
bum bum.
Yeah.
And Jod drops to his knees, laughs like a maniac as he, I guess, dreams about swimming in a giant pile of dataries or whatever it is that is going through his mind, probably, like Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah.
Although these are made of CG, so it'd be a lot easier than the
It's true.
cartoon ones.
I told you I didn't really like the way they looked, but
Travis, do you think it's possible Jod doesn't even have the Force? It seems like every object he's lifted is made of metal and could just have electromagnetic gloves like Jango
that's
Fett
kind
has.
of a cool theory. Because remember, there is that whole thing where Fern is like, I don't know, magnets, like
Yeah, I guess.
string, right?
I don't think
But
so. There's too many other
He
hints.
does.
He takes his cuffs off with the Force in this
Does he?
episode.
Oh, okay. And then I don't know the way he lifts that credit and then like throws it.
Yeah.
like, pushes it into the
Yeah.
acid too. But
He's-
I don't know.
He quotes Qui-Gon Jinn like word for word. He knows how to use a lightsaber. He talks about his like understanding. Like, there's a lot of other hints that give us
Yeah.
that he's not that he probably was a Padawan, and the age stuff lines up.
Yeah.
Breaking Bad. I just imagine Jod making Kyber meth. Come on, Travis. Come on.
It's called spice.
It's called spice.
or
Everyone
death
knows
sticks.
that.
Yeah.
Death. I prefer death sticks.
Yeah.
You're gonna go home and rethink your life. So just then, the kids' parents are brought down, which seems odd, but maybe it's like, hey, we alerted the parents, and now they're coming down to the vault. It's weird that they would be sent there,
Yeah.
but okay.
Come
And we
to get
get
their kids.
Tearful reunion, but it's cut short because Jod walks up behind them and pulls his lightsaber. Bump, bump, bump. Final shocker. That was like the
Yeah.
last, like, and like the way they make the sound design for his boots, like a
Yeah.
really thud,
Thud.
like,
thud. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
boot on your neck type sound. And we do get like a tearful reunion, like all the kids get a big hug and the parents are
Yeah.
all excited to see them. And there is that weird awkward moment with Wim and his dad where they're like,
Yeah, like are
and then
they
they
gonna
don't hug right away, and it's
Yeah,
like,
what?
what the
Yeah.
hell's going on here?
I know.
Yeah, he really comes off like he comes off even worse than Jod does practically in this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's the red flags for Jod's or for Wim's dad?
There's so many.
Yeah.
There's so many.
Lots.
Number 1, wouldn't read a book to his kid.
Yeah, calls him too old
Yeah.
for that. Just leaves $100 in cash for lunch
For
money,
lunches, yeah.
and hopes that his kid's smart enough to be like manage his money well enough.
Yeah.
What else? Disregards everything he has to say. Gets pissed about having to leave work.
Yeah.
Lots of
So many.
red
so many.
flags. And then we cut to credits. That's it for this episode. And next week is the last one. So maybe the last one
Exciting.
ever.
Yeah, it's
Treacherous
so
times in
interesting.
Star Wars these days.
Yeah, I feel like this should be getting good reviews. I
It
don't
is
know
getting
what,
good
I don't
reviews.
know what the watch like with the numbers are
It's
like, but
critically. Oh man, I put the wrong screen up. Have you here this whole time and then?
yeah. I thought you
Well,
noticed that.
I didn't.
I thought you couldn't change it.
I forgot to change it. Here we go. I'm back here.
Yeah.
My bad, guys.
That's
Sorry about
fine.
that.
You just get to look at double me from
Yeah.
5 years ago. And
Yeah, but,
me
like,
now.
Yeah, but you're at least in full definition here, and the other one,
Yeah,
it's like
blurry.
you're all blurry. Anyway, yeah, we need to get a
Uh,
better updated photo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't. The thing is, I was so surprised by the like twists and turns that this episode took that I think next episode could be almost anything.
Yeah. No, I know.
Like I really have a hard time predicting how this is going to end. Obviously, the kids are going to be fine.
Yeah, I do think that the supervisor is going to get involved for sure
Yeah.
next episode, and I don't know. I'm waiting for that big reveal, that big twist on what he knows, what he doesn't know.
I think what's interesting
Maybe he's a
about this
droid.
is that the At-Atten itself is not like a planet that we can be like, well, obviously At-Atten's going to be fine.
Yeah, no.
Who knows? We don't
Who
know the
knows?
fate of this planet. What's so great about all this stuff is that it's open-ended.
Yeah.
What could happen to any single one of these characters because they're not. We don't know their fate in any other
No.
place.
Maybe they all have to escape to the French planet.
That would suck. There's better planets than that one.
Yeah.
Even
But
though they
yeah,
have such
it's,
attractive accents.
Yeah, it's all up in the air. I mean, we'll see. And like I said, I'm fine. I'm fine with Jod being the bad guy and him not having this another turn. Like it's like he's been the villain all along, right? So I'm okay with that.
He's right under our
But we'll
nose this whole
see.
time.
We'll see.
We shall see. I mean, like I said, it could be.
Yeah.
It could be anything. I don't know. I would be shocked if Jod dies, but I also wouldn't necessarily be surprised either
Yeah.
that they would be
honestly.
willing to do that.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. Like as I said, it's very up in the air, and I'm excited. I'm hoping for good things. Because so far, the show's been very good. Like there has
Yeah.
not really been like any huge like misses. Like so,
Yeah.
I have high hopes that they can continue that for the very last episode.
The
finale, but
The low point was last week,
yeah,
but it's
and
only
even
because
that
it
wasn't.
felt too short. But even then, it was
Yeah.
like not that bad.
No, it was nothing. Yeah, nothing terrible. So yeah, I just.
Yeah,
know,
I think
just really, I have high hopes, and like I'm so far just really positive about this whole experience so far.
isn't there a Jonas Brothers song called "High Hopes"?
I have no idea.
Oh no, it's yeah. Anyway,
I have no idea. I don't.
high hopes for a minute. It's in one of the NHL.
Is it
It's
that?
in one of the. It's not Jonas Brothers. That's wrong.
Yeah, isn't that like
And also, my bad.
don't
It's
know.
Joe Bros. My bad.
Joe Bros?
They just did the Grey Cup this last year.
Didn't one of them die?
I don't think so. There's pretty sure all three were there. Of the Bros,
I'm thinking of
the
that
Bros
other
Joe.
band.
Anyway, there was a song called "High Hopes" on NHL like 19 or something like that.
I know what you're talking about, but that's like one of those other like bands.
Is it?
It's like Simple Plan or
It's not Simple
It's not
Plan. It's My Chemical Romance, I think. Maybe.
maybe you're Good Charlotte or something. I don't know.
God, how dare you? Good Charlotte
Anyways.
is above that.
I don't know.
Anyway,
Like Panic at the Disco or something.
isn't that a song?
No, it's a band.
That's a band. Maybe it is Panic at the Disco.
Yeah.
I think you're right about that. Okay. Travis says, I could see Jod just being taken by the pirates, but the kids save him, putting him in prison.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess. And then that would kind of create an interesting dynamic for any potential season 2. Yeah. Panic
Yeah.
at the Disco. Nice pull,
There we
Rachel.
go. Got it.
Thanks,
I knew
Travis.
it was in my like emo brain. I was like, it's in there. I can get there.
That's my emo brain.
Yeah.
Is that emo?
I mean, not really. It's emo adjacent.
It's like pop
from the time.
punk.
Pop punk, whatever.
Anyway.
Pop emo. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not. It can't be emo. It's
Mhm.
definitely punk, but even then, it's like because it's the
It's
pop
very
punk,
light
and then it's
punk,
like it's
yeah.
like it's very sugary.
Mhm.
Good song though. All right. On that note, we do have high hopes
Yeah.
for the season finale. Hopefully not the series finale, though. We'll see. Time will tell on that. We won't even know next week whether that's the case. Until then, and I guess the plan for next week's record around the same time,
Yeah.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
That should be fine. I don't expect my schedule to be really any different going forward for the next several weeks.
Yeah.
So, yeah, subscribe to the Twitch and YouTube to get notified when we go live. Otherwise, make sure to get your podcast in any of the standard podcast catchers of choice. If you haven't done so, please leave us a review on like Apple Podcasts or on Spotify or
Yeah.
something. It would be nice. I like to
It would
read
be
the
nice.
nice ones. The mean ones I don't
The
I don't
mean
really
ones.
like.
There's only been like a couple mean ones.
Yeah, I know, but it's fine. I'm not sensitive about it at all. It's fine. We'll be back next week with more Star Wars. But until then, may the Force be with you. Thank you, Travis.
Yeah. Thanks for being in the
Thanks
chat
for being
tonight,
in the
friends.
and Ray as well.
Yeah,
Thank
Ray
you, and
as
everyone
well.
else who was in the chat today
Yeah. Thank you
or
very
on
much.
the or watching live. Great to have you here.
we'll
Always great.
See
So
you next week.
yeah, see you next week.